Welcome to Nimmin Live, the #1 place on the internet to learn about YouTube, network with other content creators, and have an awesome time doing it. My name is Nick, and today I'm answering your YouTube questions. So if you have a question about what it is that you are doing on YouTube, there's a form down in the description of this stream right now where you can get your questions in there so we can get them answered on the show today. If you're watching this on the replay, I do want to let you know that we put timestamps in here so that when you are watching this back on the replay, you are going to be able to skip around the stream. So if you are just showing up here, maybe you've never experienced this content before, just click around the timestamps or at least see the list of topics that we're covering during the stream today and see which ones apply to you. Because during this stream, we talk about all kinds of things related to YouTube, and it's all driven by the questions that everybody asks here during the stream today. So I encourage you to just kind of skip around and find the content that is the best fit for you and what it is that you're trying to learn, or just sit back and listen to the whole thing and just learn a ton about YouTube. Now, I also want to let you know, if you are joining the stream today or if you're watching it on the replay, today's stream is brought to you, as always, by TubeBuddy, which is the #1 tool for YouTube content creators. TubeBuddy will help you optimize your videos for discovery. TubeBuddy will help you find great video topics. TubeBuddy will help you test your thumbnails so you can make sure that the thumbnails that you are putting together are effective for the audience that you are trying to reach with your content. All kinds of different tools. A lot of people think that TubeBuddy is just a keyword tool or a tagging tool, but in reality, they have over 90 different tools that'll help you with your YouTube channel. So you can try that out for free at tubebuddy.com/Nimmin. There's a link down in the description below, and Chantel actually just posted a link here in the chat as well. Thank you for that, Chantel. We are co-brought to you or co-sponsored by StreamYard, which is the live streaming platform that I use to live stream this show every single Saturday. And the reason that I use StreamYard is because it's easy. I mean, if we just, call it what it is, it's easy. In addition to that, they make it really easy to bring guests on. They make it easy to add graphics on the screen, like you can see right here, as I sit here and I flip through, different graphics, how it's showing, all this different stuff on the screen right now. That's just at the click of a button. But in addition to that, they hold everything open for you in the cloud. And what I mean by that is where I live. I'm out in the boonies. And since I'm out in the boonies, sometimes we have, electric flickers or internet flickers and things like that because of the wonderful infrastructure way out here. And what happens is if the stream goes down for a little bit of time or something like that, then StreamYard holds the stream open so that I can come back in on my mobile device, or so I can just pick everything right back up again once the power and all that stuff comes back on. So you can try StreamYard for yourself at StreamYard.com, or of course I've got links to that down in the description as well as a bunch of other things that you'll find helpful or resourceful for you as a YouTube content creator. So make sure that you do, even if you're on a mobile device, make sure that you check out the description because there's all kinds of stuff down there for you as a content creator. So with all that stuff out of the way, hope everybody's having an awesome week. Hope you are excited to, get into the nitty-gritty of YouTube today. I didn't stream last week, but I have to say that I'm like super pumped up to be back here today. Not sure how long we're going to be streaming today. I've got like this weird thing going on with my back today, so I'm not sure how long I'm going to be able to, sit here. But right now, I'm actually kind of in like a sweet spot. So as long as I can stay here, then we're rocking and rolling, no problem at all. So everybody that's joining us early today, I just want to thank you for, showing up early, for participating in the stream. Super excited to, to share a bunch of information with you today. And if you are just joining us, I do want to remind you that the questions that are answered on the stream today, most of them are going to be pulled from the form that is down in the description below. But from time to time, I'm going to be pulling them out of the comment section as well, or out of the chat. So if you do have a question, make sure that you hold on to that question, or that you put it down in the form that is in the description. And if I do go into like a lightning round later in the stream today, or if I just ask, hey, jump your questions in the comment section, all you got to do is put a Q in front of your question, so I know that it's for me and not, just a side conversation that you're having in the chat. And then we'll get some of those answered as well. So if you're a TubeSpanner user, go ahead and get your notepads open because we're going to be dropping all kinds of great information today. If you're not a TubeSpanner user, of course, you can check that out at TubeSpanner.com as well. It's a YouTube productivity tool, helps you with all kinds of stuff in terms of promoting your content and doing things like this here in the stream today, taking notes. So make sure you check that out as well. So here we go. Let's get into it. First off, I just want to say what's going on to LHN Family Gaming. Nice to see you in the chat today. Chantel, nice to see you here as well. Hope that you're doing fantastic today. Magic Flying Potato, Brad, hope that you're doing awesome. Watch me on the big screen. That's what I'm talking about. Love it. Iron Wolf, welcome to the stream today. Gangish, hope that you are doing awesome. Pamela Gardner, hope that you are doing awesome today as well. So to get us off to the right foot here, we've got Lenny the Lawyer dropped a super chat, and they say, can you put a link to your website the same way that you can have affiliate links? Also, how often can you use premieres? So for the first question, yes, you can put links down in your description to your website. When you do that, just make sure that the website that you are sending traffic to is within the YouTube community guidelines in terms of you don't have gambling on there, there's no malware, anything weird like that going on. As long as you're an above the board website, then you're totally good to go. In terms of the premieres, how often you can do premieres. You can do a premiere for every video if you would like to. However, that's typically not the best approach to take. Premieres are best used when you have that thing to actually premiere, because the idea of a premiere is, hey, we've got this special thing that we're doing that we don't normally do. Therefore, we're going to kind of get the community all fired up about it and showing up here at this premiere so that we can, interact in the chat and all that stuff for that premiere. So if you're doing premieres, just make it something that's premiere worthy instead of doing premieres all the time is the recommendation that I have for that. So that's a great question. And just as a heads up too, all of you that are content creators already, you're already in the system, so you're fine. But here in the very near future, YouTube has actually put out information saying that they are going to limit description links completely for new YouTube channels. So that's not happening yet, to my understanding, but it's right around the corner. It's going to be happening soon. And when that rolls out, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be weird about it. So if you do have a friend or a family member, somebody that's thinking about starting a YouTube channel, and you're going to need those description links, right out of the gate, then in that particular case, I would go ahead and get down there and just go ahead and create the account, go ahead and get the thing together so that you can make sure that you're kind of sliding in like Indiana Jones, grabbing your hat before that gate closes, so to speak. But if it does close on you, if you do, your friend, family member, somebody starts a YouTube channel and they don't have, description links at that moment in time, not a big deal, they'll be able to get it. But I'm just saying, if you are somebody that would need that right out of the gate, or you start channels on a regular basis for other reasons, then in that case, you want to go ahead and make sure that you get that all sorted. So, all right, let's go ahead and get into this thing. So basically, we're going to hop into the forum now, and we are going to start answering some questions here about YouTube. A girl on her passport. Welcome to the stream today. Hope you're doing awesome. Rusty Graffiti Reviews. Hope that you're doing fantastic. iFun Chris. Hope you're doing awesome, man. Thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate it. And iFun Chris says, I got views and don't get subscribers to my channel. So just as a heads up, not everybody that watches your video is going to subscribe, and it's actually common to have a low view to subscriber conversion. So because of that, every channel on YouTube is different in terms of how good they are at converting viewers into subscribers. Sometimes, just how you set up the content, or what it is that you say in the content, or how obvious it is in terms of the value that people are getting from you. Those are things that, will cause people to subscribe. It's different for all of us in terms of, how many views it takes us to get a subscriber. So the very first question that we have on our list today is we have Aaron's House of Legos. Aaron, I hope that you're doing great, had a great week. So they have Lego content, and the goal of the channel is to reach 50 subscribers so that they can go live. And the question is, I'm categorizing my Lego videos in the how-to and style category, but I'm not sure if that's where they need to go. Can you please explain to me what category Lego videos should go in? So how-to is fine if you're showing people how to build Legos, but when it comes to YouTube categories, the idea with those is you want to get it as close as you possibly can. According to my partner manager, or my previous partner manager, because I have a new one now, when it comes to your categories, the idea is you want to just get it as close as you can. And when you set it to the category that you choose, you're basically just trying to give the system a little bit of a help in terms of understanding what it, like who it might be for. But YouTube has its own categorization system. So even though you might set it to something, once it actually gets in the system and the system identifies what your content's about, it's going to assign it to its own category anyway. So go ahead and just do the best you can, get it as close as you can, and then you'll be good to go from there. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, so I got a little thing I'm working on right now. So you can help me out with this if you catch me doing it. So I have this little note over here, and this is something that I tell, others to do from time to time. Ooh, I just dropped my GoPro thing. But anyway, I have this little note over here because I've been using a lot of filler words lately, I've noticed in my content, my live streams and all of that. From time to time, it's fine, but it's starting to get to the point where it's something that I'm needing to work on. So I have this little note over here. It just says on it, and because those are ones that I use, that I'm starting to use a lot. So I'm trying to keep that under control here during the stream. So as soon as my focus starts going away from that, then of course, I'll start saying it probably more. But for right now, that's just something that I'm working on. So the Creator Classroom is our next question here. The Creator Classroom says that they do Canva tutorials. And so if you're a Canva user, definitely check them out. And the goal of the channel is to help people use Canva. And the question is, I had my very first and second live stream this week. Congratulations to you for getting that out of the way. It says, my question is, after you go live and it closes out, how long does it take for you to be able to edit out some of the segments of the stream? And will it get rid of the live chat comments if you edit out a bit of the stream afterwards? Thanks so much for your encouragement and support of live streams every single week. So I'm glad that you are enjoying the streams for sure, and that you're always hanging out here. Super appreciate that. I'm glad that you're, enjoying the content. But when it comes to the amount of time that it takes, typically within just a handful of minutes, they'll have it processed. So if it's a shorter stream, then it's going to process faster than if it's a really long stream. For example, this stream right here, because we're going to be going probably for 3 hours or so today. So with this particular stream, it'll probably take it a while. Whereas like my news streams that I did yesterday, I actually have some of those pinned at the top of the screen right now. But for the news streams, with those, they'll be ready to go in just a couple of minutes. So it really depends on how long your live stream is. But in terms of the other questions, in terms of the live chat, if you do edit your live stream replay after the stream is complete, then when you hit that save button and it starts that process, then you are going to lose the live chat. So what you got to think about is, when I'm putting my streams together, is this particular stream that I'm doing, is this one that I want to leave the chat for? If so, I got to make sure I'm structuring things in a way to where I can just leave that live experience for people to enjoy in the replay, or am I essentially recording a piece of content live to where I'll need to cut the chat off? So for example, the piece of content live in my case would be the new segments that I'm doing, and then these would be the live streams that I do for the sake of the live experience. So when it comes to cutting those out, you just have to determine on your end what you're going to be doing, what you're trying to prioritize, and then structure the content accordingly based on the approach that you're going to be taking for the live streams. Nomadic Introvert says, question, if I collaborate with a company and they ask me to do a review of their product, do I have to put sponsor on my video? All I have to do is tell my audience, thanks in advance. So yes, if they are giving you a product promotion, or if they are giving you money in exchange for promotion or spreading awareness about their product or service, then you do have to mark your stream as a sponsored piece of content. And the reason for that is because sometimes somebody might not get far enough in your video to hear the message. And maybe you're doing it correctly, but other content creators might not. But basically, when you are putting your content together, when you are letting people know maybe after, you say the thing that you're going to say, then in that case, it doesn't really add a lot of value to them if they've already made a decision or something like that. But the way that you do that, technically, if you want to play 100% by the book, you need to mark it in YouTube. And then before you get into the segment where you are spreading awareness about that sponsored thing, then in that case, you got to let your viewers know as well. So you can do that at the beginning of your video. You can do it, once you get into the content itself. But the idea is you have to let people know that you are getting something in exchange for spreading awareness about that product. Carlene Geisha, thank you for the super chat as well. Says, after monetization, do I have to maintain 4,000 hours of watch time? Yes, you do, but that's within a 365-day period. So how that works is it's a rolling thing. So a lot of you, because we get this question a lot, not what you're asking, but we get the question about, I keep losing watch time. What's going on? So basically, YouTube gives us a 365-day rolling watch time requirement that we have to meet in order to stay in the partner program. So every single day that passes, you have watch time dropping off, and then every single day that that you're publishing content, you'll have watch time, coming back in. And as people are just interacting with your videos anyway, you'll have watch time coming in and increasing. So what you have to do is you just have to make sure that within that 365-day period from you getting monetized, that you reach those 4,000 hours of watch time again. And then the following year, you do it again. And then the following year, you do it again. And then the year after that, you do it again. And then you do it again and you do it again. So yeah, so absolutely, you do have to keep meeting those requirements. So the next question that we have, and I'm pulling this one here from the forum, excuse me. So my girlfriend and I don't know if you can hear my voice right now, but yesterday I was in like calls and stuff for like half the day. And then at nighttime, because I have like a little music set up over here. So my girlfriend and I, we're just being silly and we're like singing songs and stuff in there. And my voice is a little bit parched out today. I haven't spoken much today as an attempt to kind of hold the voice, but you might be able to hear that my voice is a little bit parched today. Stormy Scale Rails Production is the next question here on our list. They do daily content. The type of channel is mostly trains and some weather videos, and the goal of the channel is to have fun and eventually make some money. And the question is, when filming a worker talking at a museum or historical site, would you recommend having them sign a waiver or simply informing them that you plan to post the video to YouTube enough? We would also give them one of our cards so they could check out the channel themselves. Thanks and have a great day. This is one of those ones where if you were playing by the rules, then in that particular case, hold on, that's a weird. Yeah, if you are playing by the rules and you want to make sure that you are just 100%, I'm not going to say playing by the rules, even though I did just say that. What I mean is, if you want to fully protect yourself and not run any risk whatsoever, then having them sign a modeling contract of sorts is definitely something that you want to do. And by doing that, then that's going to give you documentation that you have permission. Now, sometimes people go to where they'll have them say on video, I give you permission to use this video on YouTube, even if you're monetized, things like that. But technically, you want to have that piece of paper if you want to make sure that you are completely, 100% safe. However, with that said, a lot of people don't. Like, a lot of people just go out, interview people on the street, things like that, and they don't even worry about that sort of thing. They'll just have them say that on video as a means to get some type of confirmation for them that it's okay. But again, if you want to play it 100% safe, then in that case, definitely have people sign modeling contracts. The same thing applies too. If you have like a buddy of yours and they're, coming on your YouTube videos, in the event that you have a falling out with that person in the future, they can come back to you and they can, try to get you to take YouTube videos down and things like that. So even if you have, friends in your videos and stuff like that, again, most people don't do this and you're probably going to be fine. But if you wanted to be 100% safe and not ever have to worry about it, then in that case, even having them sign it, for each video that they're on is something that you would want to consider. Lenny, while you're live, thank you for the super chat, for the additional super chat. Says the Rodecaster Pro II uses XLR mics, but is there a way to use it with USB mics like Blue Yetis? Can it be used with an Elgato Stream Deck? So I don't have the 2 version of it. I just have the original Rodecaster Pro. So I'm not 100% familiar with it, and I'm not sure if it allows any type of USB connection or anything like that. I really don't know. I wish I could give you an answer to that, but I don't. In terms of it working with the Stream Deck, absolutely, it works with the Stream Deck because the Stream Deck is a different piece of tech. So when it comes to the Rodecaster Pro, it processes your audio and you run all of your audio through it. You can trigger sound effects, things like that. However, when it comes to the Stream Deck, it's a totally different tool. So yes, you can trigger sound, if you have everything routed correctly in your computer, but you can also use it to switch scenes and that sort of thing, open up software. So for example, in my Stream Deck, one of the things that I have programmed in here, because you can set up cascades as well. So for any of you live streamers, here's a power tip for you. It's going to take you a little bit of setup time, but once you set it up, you're going to thank yourself. So with my Stream Deck, I have one button that I press, and it's called Live. That's the button. When I hit that, it opens up every browser that I need because I have a bunch of different browsers open for different things, but it opens up every browser that I need. It opens up my live streaming software. It opens up Spotify, opens up VLC because I have to have VLC open to put the stuff on the TV over here. So when basically when I hit that button, then what happens is everything that I need to go live opens up all in one swing, and then I just go and just move everything into the right spot, and then I'm ready to rock and roll. So just a little power tip for you there with the Stream Deck. So next up on our list here, we got King CMC TV. They do daily content. They do gaming content. How many gamers do we have here? How many gamers do we have here? If you're a gamer, just say me. But the goal of the channel here is to get monetized and support my family. And the question is, I have vidIQ and TubeBuddy. On vidIQ, there's daily idea topic titles for my video topic. Should I copy the same title of the daily video idea or make my own title topic? Plus, keep up the great work. I love your creator mix. I use it for my stream. Oh, that's awesome. I'm glad that you're enjoying the songs or the music over there. So when it comes to those daily topic ideas, keep in mind that anything that gives you topic ideas, vidIQ does this, TubeSpanner does this. I think TubeBuddy might have something in there that gives like actual, like just a video idea spinner of sorts. But when it comes to things that are suggesting video topics, it's important to make sure that you are thinking before you're like, oh, hey, this is something I can make a video on, I'm just gonna go for it. It's important that you do run it through the filter of if it's a good fit for the people that you're trying to reach with your content or not. Because just because a tool suggests that you should do something doesn't mean that it's always the best fit for you, regardless of what it is. So because of that, you have to make sure that when you're using these tools, that you're looking at it through that lens of, okay, it's suggesting that I do this, so is this, is this something that my audience would actually love from me? If the answer is no, then in that case, or if the answer is like, I'm not sure, then in that case, you should probably just keep working on it until you do find one of the titles that you're like, oh yeah, this is good. They would absolutely love this. Let's see here. So as we keep on going, we've got, oh, this is interesting. I love these when these happen. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this. There we go. So next up on our list here, we've got QPasa MLB. QPasa MLB does daily content. They've been on YouTube for a year or more. They do sports content. The goal of the channel is we are a media company, and our purpose is to provide all the Spanish-speaking baseball fans in the world with the best baseball content. And the question is, we have a live news show from Monday to Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, and once it's over, we selected the most important topics we touch on, and I edit them down into a short, but we don't use the option in a YouTube video because due to the screen format, it's not the right size. Can this hurt our channel? We've heard that if you use multiple clips from your own content and make them into separate videos, it could be considered reused content by YouTube. Is that true? So here's the thing. When you are, like, for example, okay, this live stream that you're watching right now, for these, even though I don't publish them all, for these, I have a humongous archive of videos that have been clipped out of these live streams. I made an entire channel for it. I just don't upload to it a lot, but I made an entire channel for it. And all of that is perfectly fine. So if you're taking your own content, you're sampling your own content, and then you're making mashups of it, which is kind of like a highlight reel of the content, or, hey, these are 10 tips that I've given over the years that everybody should make sure to keep in mind because they always are relevant or something like that, then in that case, that could be one tip from 10 different videos, and that's still okay. So the idea is when you are clipping those out, you are essentially just giving a different type of value with that clip than you are for a full live stream. So it's perfectly fine. The problem comes where if you say, okay, I'm going to take this clip from this live stream, and then I'm going to upload it to like 6 different channels. Then in that case, you have that same clip uploading to 6 different channels, which means you're essentially reusing, that content, or you're uploading duplicate content. The same exact thing goes for your live stream. When you live stream, some people will live stream to multiple YouTube channels. You don't want to do that because then you run into a similar situation. So what you do is when you are clipping those out, you're making them YouTube shorts, you're making them just shorter video clips that you can promote in whatever way. Then what you do in that situation is you're creating a unique piece of content by essentially just shortening it down. So you're perfectly okay to do that. Next up on our list here, we've got Tenet. Tenet says they have a gaming channel. The goal of the channel is 500 subscribers by the end of the year and upload content to make people laugh. Says, I watch a lot of your videos. I try to make the best possible videos for viewers that watch me. It's good. And the question is, so my recent videos exploded with the current views I normally have. How should I approach maintaining that amount of views or even growing more views? So first, you want to make sure that particular video is set up properly in terms of you have pinned comments leading to additional content on your channel. You have end screen set up that leads to additional content on your channel based on the topic of that particular video and how relevant it is to the people that are interacting with that video and what you're handing them off to. Make sure that you also have description links to other relevant content, but that's just from that one video. The next thing you got to do is you got to look at it from the perspective of why do I think my audience responded to this so much? Or why do I think the people that YouTube showed this to responded to it so well? And from there, that's how you start uncovering what you should do next. So right out of the gate, the very first thing you got to look at is the topic, right? So what was this video about? So here, in this case, since you're a gaming channel, whatever that particular video is about, if that one did exceptionally better than the other videos, then that gives you a clue about the people that YouTube is showing that content to, they are responding to that. So therefore, what would be a logical next step to the people that watched that particular video that, that came in and responded to that topic? What else could you make that would also be based around that particular topic that would, that would want them, or that would cause them to want to come back and watch another video? So the idea here, Walter, what's up, man? Walter's World, what's going on, man? Hope you're doing fantastic. I always say that, Mark. But anyway, the idea is that you want to make sure that you are just considering, like, the people came in for this particular topic. So since they came in for this topic, then I'm proving that they're interested in this topic and they responded well to the video, which means that however I put this particular video together, in terms of the title, in terms of the thumbnail, in terms of the topic, they responded to all of this. Therefore, first, how is this different from everything else that I've done on the channel? And two, what can I do next in terms of using this new information that I have in terms of what people are responding to make that next video that I think they would be likely to respond to as well. So this is where, understanding who it is that you're trying to reach and all that stuff, and understanding the things they care about. And even when you're making gaming videos, when you are sitting there trying to understand, like, why did they respond to this particular video, go in and look at all of the details of that video. So for example, look at how you started the video, look at, every moment. So the video started. It's me sitting there telling people what's going on, or it's me sitting there listening to music, or it's a countdown screen, or like whatever it is with your particular content when, for the one that did well. Just go in and analyze every second of that content compared to the other content that doesn't perform as well. Go into your analytics, look at your click-through rate, look at your click-through rate and all the different traffic sources as well, and just try to get a good understanding of why that video did well, and then try to think of how you can apply some of those things to additional content to test any theories that you come up with in terms of why that content did well. But at the core of it though, you got to think from the topic level. So if people responded to this topic, what would be a great fit for all the people that flooded into my channel from this particular video? What would they love next, based on my understanding of the game, my understanding of the people that I'm trying to reach, and even your own interest, right? Making that type of content. Like, what would you love to see next if you watch that video that's doing well? Let's see here. So next up on our list here, we've got Sebastian Seidlecki. I hope I'm saying that correctly. They upload one time per week or more. The type of channel says, I help coaches in Germany get clients via YouTube. Super cool. The goal of the channel says, I'll build a community and get clients for my German YouTube agency. And the question is, I love your live streams and would like to copy the concept on my own channel. How should I start this? From your professional point of view, what are things that I should definitely pay attention to? And also, which mistakes should I pay attention to? So if you're going to do something similar to this, what I recommend is that you just come in ready to just answer questions and just, kind of demystify some of the stuff that your clients want to know. So one of the things that happen when you start doing these types of things is other opportunities will just start opening up for you, because when you go live in a situation like this and you have the opportunity to talk to people about a particular subject matter in depth and in detail, what you're doing for the amount of time that you're going live is you're demonstrating that you know what you're talking about. And by doing that, then you're going to have, clients that are going to be sending you email, or potential clients that are going to be sending you emails, and it becomes like a great lead generator if you have, services to sell. However, one thing that's really important to make sure that you are keeping in mind is when it comes to these types of things, a huge mistake that a lot of people make is they look at it from the perspective of, like, I'm coming on here to generate leads and sales. I'm coming on here to, just to sell stuff. And when you do that, then what happens is, you'll have some streams, and those streams, you'll sell some stuff, right? You'll get, the leads you want and all that. However, long term, if it's like, hey, every time I come in here, I'm just like constantly, they're just constantly trying to sell me stuff and constantly trying to get me to buy things and all that, then what's going to happen is people are going to stop hanging out, because they can see it for what it is, which is you're sitting there always trying to cram things down their throat, so to speak, and you're always trying to generate leads. So because of that, just freely give your time. And I know this sounds crazy, but freely give your time and freely give the information that you have without restriction, and just genuinely try to help people out. And by doing that, what's going to happen is you're going to have people hitting you up because they can see, one, that you're well-intentioned. Two, they're going to see that you know what it is that you're talking about. Three, the people that need that help from you, that aren't yet at that point to where they could hire you to help them out, you are going to be helping them get to that point by sharing the information that you share. The people that are already at that level, they're going to appreciate what you're doing, and they are probably going to have the money to spend, but not necessarily the time to implement all the things that you're talking about. So because of that, then those people are going to be the ones that are going to hit you up and hire you for your services. So so that's the first thing. The second thing is test it first. So it's really easy to get carried away in like all the tech and all that stuff and trying to make everything like look all like flashy and everything, but experiment with it. In some cases, you just sitting there by your computer might be the thing that helps people connect more. Me, the only reason I do all this stuff is because I like it. I like things, you know, kind of bouncing around. I like things looking fancy, you know, in the videos, but you know, it's not always necessary. So because of that, before you go, you know, out on a limb, unless it's something that you're into, if you're like, hey, I love the tech, I want to figure all this stuff out and try to make stuff look cool and all that. If that's the case, then, you know, then totally cool. However, you might find that you just sitting there in front of your computer and, you know, as long as you are, you know, lit well enough or whatever, just sitting there talking to people, sharing your information, that might be all that you need to do. So before you go all out on, you know, this kind of stuff, I would start with that and just see how people respond to it. Test your proof of concept, so to speak, or get your proof of concept. Make sure that the people that you're trying to reach and add value to, make sure that they respond to it. And then from there, start incrementally increasing things if you, you know, if you want to go that route. Brad Magic Flying Potato says 45 days to Vid Summit 2022. Woo-hoo, super excited to be there. Yeah, so what he's talking about here is Vid Summit. For those of you that don't know, Vid Summit is a conference that's going on in Los Angeles, California between September 27th and 29th. And this is right after I just said, you know, trying to sell stuff, but I'm not trying to sell stuff. I'm just spreading awareness about it. I'm going to be speaking there. Brad's going to be there. He mentioned it. He brought it up. But anyway, with Vid Summit, it's in LA, 27th to the 29th. And it's incredible. I go there every year. If you've hung out in these streams for any amount of time, you've heard us talking about it. So you can go to vidsummit.com to check that out if that's something that you are interested in. D Nimmin in the house. What's up, D? Hope you're doing awesome. Renee Ritchie in the house as well. Hope that you are doing awesome as well. Oh, you're going to be there this year too. Nice, nice. Love it. Absolutely love it. So next up on our list here, we've got Jamie Scott Videos. Jamie Scott Videos says they do daily content. It's a gaming channel. The goal of the channel is to get monetization. And the question is how to get more subscribers and views on my channel.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Blue Boost, what's going on? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Welcome to the stream. So when it comes to getting subscribers and views on your channel, I'm going to give you the rundown that we you know typically talk about here based on just how everything works on YouTube. So essentially, the very first thing to understand as a content creator when it comes to you know success on YouTube is it's important to know that everything is based on performance of your content. What that means is if people click on your content at a fair rate, and they watch that content for a fair rate, they share it, add it to playlists, they comment on it, they give a thumbs up, things like that. The more they engage with it, the more they enjoy it, the more YouTube is going to show it to other people like those people that are engaging with it and enjoying it. So what happens is, excuse me, if you're putting out content and people are not responding to it in any capacity. So if you're publishing videos and they're not clicking on it because your thumbnail, because the topic isn't something you're interested in, the thumbnail isn't grabbing their attention and the title isn't compelling, then what's going to happen, excuse me, what's going to happen, woo.
If you're enjoying the show, remember to give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend right now.
Then what's going to happen is if people are not responding positively to your content, then YouTube is going to move content into its place that people are responding to. So the way to think about it is this. Let's say that you have, you know, two things. I don't know what those things are, but we're just going to say things. So you have two things. We'll call them videos. So you have two videos. One video, people are clicking on it at a fair rate, competitive for the platform. They're watching it for a fair amount of time. They're sharing it. Some people are sharing it with their friends. There's, you know, a nice handful of people that are liking the video. You've got, you know, a decent amount of people interacting in the comment section. And you have a decent amount of people watching it to the end. Once they get to the end, they click on another video, or maybe they subscribe to the channel before they click on that other video, but they're really engaged in it, right? They're paying attention to the content. They're interacting with YouTube through all those different features. And this other video here, They click on it, but let's say they watch it for, 15 seconds. And they're like, oh yeah, this one's not really for me. Or let's say they watch it for a little bit of time, maybe, 30% of like a 5-minute video. Say they watch it for that amount of time. And, they leave without doing any additional interaction, no subscribes, no comments, no likes, anything like that. Then what's going to happen is YouTube is going to prioritize this video over this video, because this video is helping YouTube accomplish what it is that it's trying to do, which is show the right content to the right people at the right time that they're most likely to engage with, so that people will stay happy with being a YouTube user, so that YouTube can do all of the things that they do on the monetization side to, keep everything rolling for all of us and for them, right? So the difference there in terms of if you want to get more views and subscribers, in a nutshell, it comes down to your video performance. It comes down to your understanding of the people that you're trying to reach. So for example, in our members call that we had yesterday, so we have, for our channel members here, we have like a call that we do in our Facebook group. And in that particular call, we'll look at channels and all of that, and we'll give, suggestions. And one of the channels that we looked at yesterday, they were mixing content, even though from just kind of like just a low view, I should say, it seemed like they might be for a similar audience. But if you kind of dig into it, they were actually trying to attract 3 different audiences. So they were going after people that were into guided meditation content, people that are listening to like rain sounds and relaxing things like that, and also some meditation things for kids. So what happens in that scenario is you have these, wildly different pieces of content going out that are, essentially different types of people will respond to. And what happens is when people start publishing, videos like that, then, YouTube will identify that, hey, people are really engaged in some of this content from this channel. So let's test some of these other videos against them. And when they do that, then they end up, not clicking on some of that other content because it's not actually relevant to them. So another part of getting more subscribers and getting more views is also having some type of theme or very specific value that you offer from your YouTube channel. And you make that value obvious through each video that you publish, through what you say in your channel art, possibly, and what it is that you say when your videos are opening and things like that. But the idea is to lock in to a very specific type of value that you provide to the people that you're trying to reach. And then you basically just keep feeding that value through the content that you publish. And then as you're doing that, then what you start doing is you start using YouTube Analytics, which is the statistics that they give us for all of our content. You start using that to get an understanding of how people are responding to your content, so that thing that I was talking about before in terms of this video is going to get priority because it's getting more engagement compared to this one, then you can start to identify the problem areas that you have in your content. So do those things. Plus, while you're, getting going here, also try as much as you can to work on your skill sets, because the more skills that you develop around doing this stuff, the easier it is to do all this stuff, and the easier it is to actually get a better response because you're learning how to do all the things that people respond to. So if you do all of those things, come up with good topic ideas at the right time, learn how to get people to click on your thumbnails and titles, and learn how to create a good viewing experience for your viewers, then your videos are going to do fine over time. It might take you a little bit of time to get there, or it could be your next video. When it comes to YouTube Shorts, same exact thing applies there. The only difference is you don't have to get people to click, but everything else is still relevant in terms of when your short starts, it has to grab people's attention. They have to watch it for a fair amount of time. They have to further engage with it and all those things, so that those shorts will end up, also doing what YouTube wants, which is keeping people on the platform, keeping them satisfied with the content and so on. So if you break everything down, all the complexities of YouTube, you take it all and you break it all down to a nutshell, it comes down to make content that people will click on, and or content that people just want to watch and that they can enjoy. And then that means removing all of the stuff from your content that doesn't add value to the viewers or waste viewers' time, those sorts of things, so that they have a great experience when they're coming through your content. So when it comes to doing all this stuff, what you got to think about is you have to think about, okay, if somebody, think of the whole viewer experience. And what I mean by that is if somebody sees my video on a homepage, or they're sitting there on their phone and they're, sitting there in their living room and they're just sitting there scrolling through, videos on their phone. From that moment that they see my thumbnail, what about it is going to help them identify this content for them? What about that thumbnail and or title combination, because they work together, is going to cause that person to want to watch my video, the people that I'm trying to reach? Once they click on that video, what happens the moment? What's the first thing they see? What's the first thing they hear? Why do I want them to see and hear that first? How are they responding to that? Let me check my stats. But basically going through that entire experience that viewers have with your content and really being honest, because that's a hard part, right? Really being honest, because we have the stuff that we want to do, and then we have the stuff that, is proven to work and the stuff that's proven not to work. So you have to go through that process of, okay, let's see, how people are responding to this, so I can make those, modifications as need be. So we had some super chats come in here. I'm going to go ahead and get these taken care of here really quick, and then we will continue on. So we got that one. We got that one. We got the Rodecaster. Okay, Learn Spanish World. What's going on? Hope you're doing awesome. Welcome back. Says, I have 70,000 subscribers. I got offered $100 for a 90-second ad on it. Walk away. Walk away. Like, I'm not even like, I'll finish the question, but I have 70,000 subscribers. I got offers $100 for a 90-second ad. For an integrated promotion, but after signing, they turned around and said it was an entire dedicated video. First, in my opinion, you shouldn't even be doing a 90-second ad in your video for $100 anyway. I'm not sure what your view counts are, but really $100 for 90 seconds, essentially what you're doing is you're making a 1.5-minute video that's going to cause everybody to leave that video. So they want you to essentially sacrifice your entire video so that they can get their message out. So when you're doing sponsor deals, first try to limit them to like 30 to 60 seconds, unless even 60 seconds, like that's an eternity on YouTube. But 30 to 60 seconds, limit it down to that, and unless they do a dedicated video. So if they do a dedicated video, then of course that changes things, but those are way more expensive. So if they signed this and you have their signature stating exactly what it is that the deal was, then you have that information. So technically nobody's going to go to court over $100. So, because of that, if you already put it out on your channel, I'm not sure if you did or not. Let me know, actually. I'm going to look in the comments here. Let me know if you did put it out on your channel already. But if you put it out on your channel already, I would go into the YouTube editor and I would cut it out as soon as you possibly can. So you can go into your YouTube Creator Studio. You can use their editor, and you can just cut that part right out. So I would do that immediately. And then I would just walk away from that company, because one, they're ripping you off anyway. You should be getting more than $100, especially for like a 90-second ad, because that's taking your whole video down. Yeah, and if they are, not fulfilling what it is that they said they would fulfill, then yeah, I would definitely, I would walk away from that, and I wouldn't, I would just put them in that like don't do business with them category. Tom Nash in the house, what's up, dude? Says integrated promotion should be 30 to 60 seconds. It's only worth it if you get paid $4,000 to $6,000 per video. Only in the middle. Only if they don't get to pre-approve your script. Only legit brands. Yeah. When it comes to that, like everybody has a different, different approaches to that. But what Tom's saying, totally legit. Renee Ritchie says that he does all of his sponsor spots at the end of the video. Typically, that approach will get you more conversion. So it depends, on the deals that you have. But in some cases, if you're doing awareness campaigns, putting it in the front is the thing to do. If you're trying to get actual direct, conversions through the video, putting it at the end of the video is the thing to do. So it really comes down on, what it is that the brand's trying to do and how you do your stuff. Always remember, it's your content and you get to make the call. So you get to decide if you're going to agree to however it is that they want to do it or not. But you say here, but I didn't like how they changed things in the end. Not happy with them. It's not a very well-known company. Yeah. So, one other thing with this too, and I'm just going to say it just because, we're a bunch of content creators hanging out here, and this is something that everybody should know, is when it comes to, doing brand deals, there's a lot of, really awesome companies out there that have a lot of great people working at them that are awesome to work with. Creators have, great experiences with them. On the other side of that, there's also a shady side of all of this stuff where, where companies and marketers will try to take advantage of content creators. I have a whole video on my channel about brands that scam content creators. But the thing is, a lot of brands do, I shouldn't say a lot of brands, but there are scammy brands out there that will take advantage of content creators that, like you gave them the deal of the century, offering them, 90-second spot for $100. So, I recommend, just for the sake of the awareness of your worth, there is a Twitter account. He's got a YouTube channel as well, but it's called Creator Wizard. Justin Moore, he actually has another YouTube channel as well with him and his wife, but he has a channel called Creator Wizard, and he also has his Twitter account as well. I recommend that you follow him, especially if you're doing brand deals and all of that, because he will kind of help elevate the perspective there in terms of, the value that you have as a content creator. I think it was last week. I can't remember if it was during the stream here or not, but basically, I think it is, no, because I didn't stream last week, so it was the previous week. I found on Reddit where a company actually came in and they were working with influencers, and they basically said that if it wasn't for this one particular influencer that we're working with, then our company wouldn't be where we're at. And what they were trying to do is figure out, because this content creator is wanting equity in the company. And what they were trying to do is they're trying to figure out like how to work the whole thing out. But they were being cool about it. They're like, hey, they were recognizing it for what it is. But the reason that I brought that up is because I just wanted to highlight that in that particular case for that particular company, they wouldn't be successful, according to them in that post, if it wasn't for that content creator. So the value that you add, and this is for everybody here, everybody that's listening to this right now, the value that you can add to companies as a content creator is huge. So because of that, just remember that value is huge, and make sure that you charge appropriately for it, because when you're working with companies, it's cool on the creator side, because it's like, sweet, like I'm official now, like I'm working with these companies, right? Like I'm doing the thing, I'm getting these brand deals and all of that. And that's like awesome in terms of like how we feel about it. But on the flip side of that, it's also just important to know that you do add tons of value to the companies that you work with, and don't ever forget that, and make sure that you are being compensated, appropriately for it. So let's see here. So next up on our list here, we've got Sebastian says, thank you, Nick. That helps me and I'll test it. Okay. Thank you for that. And thank you for the super chat as well. Derek Weber says, Derek Weber Scary Stories says, I just got approved for the YouTube Partner Program this morning. Thank you, Nick. Best ad placement practices. First off, high five and fist bump to you for getting into the Partner Program. Congratulations. Making that YouTube money, right? Making that YouTube money. So yeah, congratulations to you for that. So in terms of ad placement best practices, so a couple things to think about here is, of course, the viewer experience, but of course, money. So when it comes to YouTube ads, if you enable everything, then you're going to make more ad revenue. So that's just, the elephant in the room that we got to talk about. So if you enable everything, then you will make more money. However, one thing that I like to control is I like to control the cards. I don't turn on the option for sponsored cards. And the reason for that is because I use them for things. I don't want people just randomly, leaving my videos at, different times and things like that because of an ad, essentially. In addition to that, the skippable ads, you'll end up making a majority of your money there. Non-skippables are actually the most expensive, but keep in mind that as people are coming into your videos, some people are going to get those, but not everybody. So a lot of times content creators will think like, hey, I can't use non-skippables because then that'll annoy my viewers as they're coming in. And, in fairness, that will annoy some people. But you have to remember that they're interacting with YouTube, and as they're interacting with YouTube, a lot of content creators have ads in the front. A lot of content creators will have non-skippables in the front. But within that, there's also an ad tolerance on YouTube as well, which means that depending on how long somebody's been on YouTube and how many videos they're watching and all of that, they are not necessarily going to see an ad for every single video that they're watching. So because of that, you're going to have people that are coming in your video that won't even see those ads. And that's even if they're not a premium user. And then on top of that, you also have the premium users that will be coming into your video that also won't see ads as well. So if you want to make the most money, then in that case, you want to enable everything except for the cards. If you want to be like, hey, you know what, I'm not going to, insert, these non-skippables at the beginning just for those people that might see them, then in that case, that's totally your call to make. And some content creators take that approach. The same thing goes for mid-rolls. And basically with your mid-rolls, if you have a video over 8 minutes long, then you can insert ads into the actual content as well. So keep in mind, same exact thing applies. Some people are going to see it. Some people are not going to see it. Not every single viewer that goes through that video is going to see it. But if you do use them, then you'll increase your ad revenue. So the thing that I personally like to do is I like to just focus on the viewer, the focus on you guys. And sometimes that's to my detriment as well. But basically when I do that, in most of my videos, I don't have the skippable ads or the non-skippables turned on. I typically don't insert the mid-roll ads. Every now and then I will. But in most of my content, I don't do that. In these live streams, I can't remember if I have the setting for to insert the ads in the stream replays or not. But anyway, the idea is just deciding how you want to roll, how you want to do things on your end. With me, I make money in a lot of different ways for my YouTube channel. So because of that, I'm not as dependent on the ads as a lot of other content creators are. So because of that, I can do those sorts of things and it's not, that big of a hit for me. However, if you're 100% reliant on ads, then in that case, you want to enable as much of that stuff as you can, because that's going to be how you end up replacing your cameras. That's going to be, like if your phone goes down, if you make content in your phone, that's how you get a new phone from, reinvesting your YouTube money into that. If you're a gamer, you're trying to upgrade all your, equipment and all of that stuff so that you can stream at, faster frame rates and, without lag and all these other things, then in that case, you're going to need money to do it. And the best way to get that is taking your YouTube money, reinvesting it into, the equipment that you need in order to, keep leveling up if that's something that you're trying to do. So hopefully that answered your question, and we will keep on trucking here. So let's see here. So next up, we've got TubeSpanner in the house. What's up, Danielle? Hope you're doing awesome. Says, what do you call a werewolf YouTuber? A lichen scribe. Got it. Lichen scribe. I don't know what a lichen is. I guess that's, I think I've heard that before. Is that like a vampire? No, I guess that's a werewolf. Yeah, I'm not sure what lichen is though. Nomadic Introvert says, how do you know when to collaborate with a company for a free product without being paid to promote it? This is a great question. In my opinion, when it comes to promoting something, when it comes to promoting anything for a company, the filter that I'll run that through is if I need it, if I'm considering buying it, but I just haven't yet, and it's also worth the price of it, then in that case, yeah, then it's totally fine. But if it's like, hey, this is cool, but would I really use this? Do I really need this? Is this something that I want to sacrifice a video for? Because, when it comes to making content, one thing that is also important to remember is with every video that you publish, you have a win with that video based on what it is that you're trying to do. But with every video that you publish, you also have an opportunity cost based on all the things that you don't do with that particular piece of content. So because of that, every video that you publish for a sponsor, that's a video that you could publish to where you can just create a better experience for your viewers without having those sponsor, messages in there. That's a video that you could promote as an affiliate to promote something else unrelated to a sponsor, where you can get long-term income from that instead of just that initial money from that sponsor. So there's different options that you have when it comes to, deciding how to structure that stuff. But when it comes to deciding like, hey, should I do it for a free product or should I make them pay for it? In my opinion, unless it's something that you absolutely need and that you were considering purchasing anyway, or if you find novelty in it, if you're like, hey, this is pretty cool, even though, it's like way cheaper than I would normally charge for a video. And even though it's not something that I was thinking of buying because it wasn't even on my radar, like this is pretty cool and I want it. And it's, it's only going to take me a little bit of time to make this video. So let me just go ahead and, put out an extra video for it or whatever. You can definitely take that approach. You can definitely take that approach as well. But first, though, I just run it through the filter in terms of worth, because, one of the things that does happen commonly is, companies will have their, their marketing teams and stuff. They'll have them come up with all these like schemes when it comes to content creators, where they'll be trying to, essentially get like, hey, we're going to give you these products that don't cost us very much to make, in exchange for videos that are typically really expensive for us to advertise on. So, they're not giving you that thing for free because they're trying to hook you up. They're doing it for free because it costs them less money because they get the manufacturing cost for it, instead of, having to pay you the full price of what, they should actually pay for the content. So, it really comes down to just deciding on, if it's worth it for you, or not. Let's see here. Let me refresh that, make sure we're still good there. And then we are going to keep on trucking here in the comments. So next up, we got Buff Bass Outdoors. And they do fishing and outdoor content. The goal of the channel is to turn passion into a career. And the question is, Nick, is it bad for your channel if a short goes viral? I created a shirt, relegating to my niche and what I do, and it has gotten 108,000 views and gaining 500 to 1,000 more every hour. Is this rare and can it hurt my channel? I also gained 550 subscribers. So if the short, you say I created a shirt. I don't know if you mean, that's a typo and you meant short or not. But basically when it comes to YouTube Shorts, if you have a short go viral, it can be helpful for you because as long as it's related to the type of content that you make, then shorts typically get you in front of new audiences, people that aren't, regularly consuming your content. Plus, what YouTube is trying to do right now is they're in the process of deploying features that are going to be bridges of sorts from shorts content to long form content. So because of that, the opportunity that you have right now is if this short continues to do well and it's based on the topic, then as that feature rolls out, and you might have it already because there are, a lot of people that have these already, but as some of these features roll out, then you'll be able to directly send people, over into some of your long form content as well. But right now, since that video is already out there, it's already, doing great and all that, just let it ride. As long as it's in alignment with the type of content that you currently make, you're growing subscribers from it. And eventually YouTube will start, they'll at least test some of your content, against some of those viewers as well. So, so you're totally good to go. I wouldn't stress out about it is what I'm saying. Rude Guy.
Super chat.
Thanks for the super chat. Says with YouTube Shorts now 57% of content views, do you see it increasing beyond long form eventually? So here's the thing. So, and I should have made this disclaimer in the news segment yesterday. So what Rude Guy is referencing here is in the news segment that I did yesterday, I mentioned that YouTube now has 57% of their views is coming from YouTube Shorts, according to a study. I think that particular thing was a study done by Tubular Labs. So like in the comment section of that stream, a lot of people are like, oh, everybody's attention spans are getting short. Oh my gosh, should I even do long form content anymore? Things like that. And what I should have said after I mentioned that it's 57% of views is when people are watching YouTube Shorts, they're just sitting there flipping through, right? And as they're sitting there flipping through, somebody will watch it for, just a handful of seconds, whatever, and then they flip it, and then there's another one, and there's another one. So for example, if you sit down and you're just sitting there on your phone wasting time for 20 minutes while you're sitting in your car and you're waiting for somebody to, to meet up with you or something, then in that case, you're sitting there and you're just flipping through those. And that's like 20, you got 20 minutes of content there if every video you watch is the full 60 seconds, and a lot of them are not even the full 60 seconds. So you'll watch through, 20 shorts or more than that if they're less than 60 seconds, which is going to inflate how much, content you can watch during that 20 minutes. Whereas if you're watching the long form content, let's say you have 4 or 5 minute videos, then they would watch 4 videos versus 20 or more in the short content. Or if you have a 20-minute video, then they watch one of those. So it's not necessarily that because Shorts has 57% of the viewership, that doesn't necessarily mean that nobody's watching the long form content. It just means that you can watch a lot more shorts in the same amount of allotted time. So because of that, do you see it increasing beyond long form eventually? So because of that, when it comes to the shorts, if they do make shorts to where you can do vertical long form content, which really, if we just call it what it is, all they're doing is they're just duplicating TikTok features through all of this and then trying to find ways to get people into the long form content from it now. So if they keep following that path, TikTok makes long form, or they allow long form vertical content. So I'm going to guess that eventually YouTube might do the same, but I don't have any information on that. I'm just throwing my opinion on that one. But when it comes to shorts becoming also long form, I think that the possibility is, definitely there. They might call it something else, or they might have like another section for that. I'm not really sure how that's all going to work out, but I'm going to guess that having that, like an isolated section for long form vertical content is probably eventually going to be a thing just because TikTok's already doing it. It's already proven to work. So because of that, I'm going to guess that they'll end up doing that.
Super chat.
86th Street Project says, I went to D's channel and he hasn't been posting. No, he has not. Yeah, so D is, he built up that channel and, and now he's working on some other stuff. He's working on the Creator Mix channel, those sorts of things right now. He's working on the whole Creator Mix project, and that has been, extremely time consuming for him. So, so because of that, he hasn't been uploading to his YouTube channel, to that YouTube channel, I should say. So next up on our list here, we've got War Maiden Gaming. War Maiden Gaming says that they do the type of channel, says it's going to be for my gameplay for whatever game that I'm planning to run. And the goal of the channel is to bring my adventures to others and share my stories. And the question is, as someone who does not have deep pockets, what is the best way to get good vid captured and edited to be decent? So if you are trying to, yeah, and D says that he might not ever again upload to that particular channel, by the way. I will get that, Doug. Thank you. So when it comes to getting your videos captured, there is like technically, if you're trying to just do everything free, because you said, if you don't have deep pockets, so you can capture gameplay with something called OBS. If you're just going to be playing the game, it's called OBS Studio. It's a piece of live streaming software that that's on your computer, but you can also record through it. Keep in mind, if you're playing the game on it, plus you're using OBS with it, it's going to be pretty taxing on your computer, but that is a way that people do capture their gameplay footage. Next up, let's see here really quick. Let's see here. We got Brad taken care of. So, Nigel, member for 12 months, says, I have someone else's video on a TV in the background in my video and one clip without sound to show the viewer where I get my info from. Am I safe? So imagery is protected by copyright just like audio is. So keep that in mind and just know that when you do have those types of things in the background that they can be detected, and you can, if somebody were to see that video, technically, if they wanted to, issue a DMCA or something like that, they could. You're probably okay. But just know that, when you do have those types of things going on, that you are putting yourself at, a little bit of risk. All right, so let's see here. Let's go next up on the list. Oh, hey, hey, thanks for this, Drinkers with Gaming Problems. So for the person that was wanting to do the capture, the game capture, so Drinkers with Gaming Problems says that if you have an NVIDIA card, it also comes with capture software. So I completely forgot about that. So thanks for the heads up there. The Sharpie 1012, thank you for the kind words. I super appreciate it. Mr. Camera Junkie, welcome to the stream today. Ash Borland, what's up, my man? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Hey, dude, I got your email. I'm not there yet. I was wanting you to send that email just so I have it in my queue. So I should be hitting you up here probably for the next like 2 to 3 weeks. Just a heads up there. So next up on the list here, we got X Diamond Music. X Diamond Music, they do rap music. Nice. The goal of the channel says, I want to share my art with the world. And the question is, hello, Nick, good morning. Hello, good morning to you as well. So I want to create a new channel where I make 1-minute videos, but instead of talking, I would do them with rap. That would be my differentiator. And which niche do you think it would be to have a good chance of success for a channel like that? And if it were you, how would you do it? Greetings and thanks for everything you offer. Sorry if my English is not very good. So for that, I would actually do it the other way around. I would think about, okay, what is it that that I would enjoy rapping about? What would be content that would be, that would either challenge me to rap about it, or what would be content that would be easy for me to rap about it, depending on the path that you're wanting to take there. But the idea is that when you are, trying to do that, you have to make sure that you're also thinking, is this appropriate for what people would want from this type of content? Because there's the novelty side of it, which is what it is that you're doing. But then there's also, depending on the content that, people are going to be expecting a certain type of value from that content. So because of that, what I would do, because you asked for my approach, I might think about maybe doing like parodies of stuff and try to go like the whole entertainment route, try to make like actual like music videos about it and stuff like that, and do like parody type content about other things. So for example, like if there's like popular commercials or, things like that, doing like rap versions of, those types of things would be something to try. But again, that would be something to try. Like, I'm not sure exactly, how people will respond to that. So you're going to have to just give it a shot and find out. But I would be trying to either do it on, parody related things, or I would just try to, rap about, trending topics, or maybe even like do funny raps about things that people take seriously and, get a bunch of people triggered, that kind of stuff. But, again, you just have to make sure that you are thinking about the value that people will expect when they are, clicking on a certain type of content. But I think it's an interesting idea, and I think that you should definitely try it and see how it goes. Let's see here. So next up on our list, we've got Your Young Tutor. They do mobile content. The type of channel is tutorials, how-to videos, and Rubik's Cube videos. The goal of channels, I want to get monetized ASAP. And the question is how to get my views on my videos, not YouTube Shorts. So when it comes to getting views on your videos, Jelly Duck, member for 27 months, thank you for your support. Glad that you are enjoying the channel membership, dropping that wahoo in there. But when it comes to getting views on your videos, like I mentioned before when the stream was first starting, everything on YouTube is based on response. So if you want to get more views on your videos, you have to make videos about topics that people are interested in, or if you can't prove that people are interested in those topics, you have to experiment, which is making videos on the topics and seeing if people are interested in those topics. Then you have to be able to get people to grab their attention and possibly get them to click on your thumbnail, or you have to be able to write compelling titles that will actually pull them into your content or create some type of interest around the video that you have. Once they click on it, then what's going to happen from there is they're going to start experiencing your content. Once they start experiencing your content, YouTube is tracking everything it is that they're doing with your video. They're tracking how long they're watching it. They're tracking if it's in the forefront or if it's in the background. They're like in terms of like, are you listening to something in the background, or are you actually engaging with it, as like the only thing like on the screen? They're tracking if people are liking it, commenting on it, how far they're watching. They're tracking mouse movements, like everything about the video. They're tracking everything. So because of that, when somebody comes into your video, what you want them to do is engage with the content. And that engagement is watch time. It's people watching the videos. So you got to make sure that you are creating, a good experience for them there. But then also you want to make sure that you are getting them to, engage in other ways as well. So in order to do that, you have to be making good content, adding calls to actions and things like that work. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the core of it. The most important part is the content that you're putting out and how that content resonates with other people or entertains them or motivates them or teaches them something or whatever it is with, the content that you're trying to do. So if you want to get more views on your videos, you have to learn how to, do all of those things in that process in terms of coming up with good video ideas, researching those video ideas to, to prove that people are interested in them, making thumbnails that are, attention grabbing and compelling, making titles that are, attention grabbing and compelling as well. And then, a great video experience for them as well. Because when you are, doing all of this stuff, the important thing to make sure that you're keeping in mind is that, YouTube has a goal that they're trying to reach, and they are trying to, keep people engaged in the platform. And the more that you can help them do that, the better you're going to do. So next up on our list here, we've got Coded Despair. Coded Despair says that they do daily content. The type of channel is gaming. The goal is to reach 30,000 subscribers. Hey, really quick here, Renee Ritchie, who by the way is the YouTube liaison, he actually works with YouTube, says, fun fact, YouTube doesn't consider comments in ranking, but it's still important for community building. Absolutely. The goal of the channel is to reach 30,000 subscribers here. And the question is, tutorial on thumbnails, titles, and tags. I cannot use TubeBuddy and other things, so I need help with those. Thanks. Oh, you're just wanting me to make that particular video. Yeah, so I can tell you right now, I've got videos on my channel. So if you just go to YouTube search, for anybody here, if there's anything that you're wanting to know in terms of, like you would want me to make a video about it, first, go and just hop on YouTube search and do Nick Nimmin and then type in whatever it is that you want me to make a video about. And there's a good chance that I've probably got it on the channel already. Like in your case, I've got videos about writing titles. I've got videos about thumbnails. I've got videos about tags. Keep in mind the tag videos are dated. So because of that, take those with a grain of salt because tags aren't as important as they used to be. So because of that, just go to YouTube search bar, do Nick Nimmin, and then like how to make thumbnails or Nick Nimmin thumbnails. And then you're going to see some videos there that pop up about other people showing how to make thumbnails like I make, but then you'll also see, some videos that I've made, teaching you about thumbnails and the other things that you're looking for there. Ironing Man Paul.
Super chat.
I love your channel name, by the way. What a great play on the Iron Man name. That's awesome, Ironing Man. So says, started using Creator Mix on my channel. Thanks. I'm glad that you are enjoying Creator Mix. On behalf of my brother D and myself, we are super glad that you are enjoying Creator Mix. So thank you for the kind words there. Super glad that you are enjoying it. So next up here, we've got number 14. We're cruising right through these. Next up, we've got channel name. Let me find it. We've got CanFlyWA. CanFlyWA says, the type of channel is viewing Western Australia by drone. The goal of the channel is to showcase Western Australia sites and views. And the question is, if a subscriber decides to try to help your channel by putting your channel on repeat so it continually plays your videos, will this have a detrimental effect on your channel or will it help boost your channel? One person isn't going to make a difference. Like, I mean, technically, I guess sort of it could, but like YouTube is looking at things like an accumulation of all the people that are interacting with your channel. So if you have one viewer that's just sitting there and they're just looping stuff in the background, they go into a playlist and then they just kind of walk away from the computer. In that case, that one viewer, it's not really going to do a ton for what it is that you're trying to do there. Another thing is that YouTube, like if you do let playlists go for too long, I actually have this happen from time to time, because one thing that I'll do is like when I'm working, when I'm sitting there in front of the computer and I'm doing whatever there, then I'll have like YouTube open and I'll have like a music playlist going or whatever. Now I'll just go to Creator Mix because we have a live stream. It's a 24/7 stream going on, which is great if you're into lo-fi. Link to that, or link to Creator Mix down in the description. But when you are but when I'm working though, I'll have like a playlist of some kind, and I've actually had it to where it'll prompt me, kind of like Netflix does, to where it'll ask me if I'm still actually sitting there watching. So so you do have those types of things as well. But again, like the message that I want to share here for this particular question is the system when it comes to YouTube is really smart. When it comes to people interacting with your content, like they can tell, like if that one person is like, they can tell the computer that you're watching it on, they can tell the location, they can tell like if you're logged in, they can tell all of these like details about, the devices, where they're located at, the other devices that they're near, like all this other crazy stuff. So like when it comes to gaming YouTube, like you can't. Like when it comes to, YouTube, the system is smart enough to where, you're not going to be able to like, pull a fast one on YouTube, because they'll be able to, detect things like that. Now, with that said, if your content's awesome, adds tons of values, and you have like tens of thousands of people that are doing that, they're just sitting there and watching through like hours of playlist of videos, trying to like learn some, deep concepts that you're sharing and things like that. In that case, yeah, those will probably do great. If you have 10,000 people sitting there listening to your music playlist, yeah, it's probably going to do great, and it'll probably end up, on home pages all over the place, when those things happen. So when you have those things happen at scale, they matter. When they're happening, at a at like an individual user situation, then in that case, it's not as it's not going to be that impactful. Learn Spanish World, thank you for the super chat. Says I sang a song which is in the public domain, and this guy sent me a copyright strike. There are hundreds of covers of this song, which is more than 100 years old. When will YouTube fix their copyright system? So this is a great question. And, I'm right there with you. Their system is broken. It's a mess. There's a lot of, collateral damage, and YouTubers, unfortunately, are at the center of it. It sucks. So basically with their system, like a thing that content creators typically don't understand is that when it comes to the legal side of things, if somebody submits a DMCA to YouTube, a takedown notice to YouTube for somebody using a song, like YouTube can't necessarily judge that. They can't make the call on if it's like legitimate or not or anything like that initially. And because of that, like they have to take action. They have to take it down, those sorts of things. So that's where, people are really violating those situations. But when it comes to people claiming that old content, it's an epidemic, unfortunately, on YouTube with music, with footage, old footage, things like that. And it's one of the bad parts of YouTube. So because of that, like, unfortunately, in your case, I would, if it was me, I would dispute it. And, I would just let them know that, it's definitely something that's old. But, unfortunately, content creators are the ones that catch the fallout from this, because YouTube doesn't catch the fallout. The companies, they typically will get away with it. Like YouTube might ban them from their, content ID system or whatever, if they happen to be in it. But, at the end of the day, it really comes down to the creators losing out. And that's one unfortunate side about YouTube right now is that whole thing. So, I wish that I could be like, hey, just do this or just do this and don't worry about it. But, the reality is it's a problem that they need to fix and they need to figure out. So one thing that really bothered me is that I'm not sure how many people here are familiar with the YouTube channel Lo-Fi Girl. So one of the things that happened, and this conversation right now is what really bothers me about this. So Learn Spanish World, they get a copyright strike, and they're just having to deal with it, and then they can go through and dispute it, and all of that, and go through that full process. And they're just they're just kind of there. They don't have contacts at YouTube. They don't have like a huge YouTube channel to where they're kind of on that radar. But Lo-Fi Girl, they had their stuff taken down. It was an improper or a false claim, and they just sent out a tweet about it. they tweeted it. I think it was like Team YouTube. I retweeted it too, saying that they got taken down, all this stuff, but it was a fraudulent claim, and YouTube was able to, they're like, oh yeah, hey, we looked into it. And this is the part that bothers me. We looked into it, and this is a fraudulent claim. We got it taken care of. Everything's back up. You're good to go. And D and I were, I think at the time when that tweet went out, or when that, when that, came to light, I think we were actually eating it like, we were eating at like a local restaurant. We're having some pizza with pineapple on it. And at that moment in time, we were like, oh my God, can you believe this? I think this is like the first time we've ever seen YouTube do this. And then D and I went on a rant about like how just uncool that is. Like I understand that they're bringing tons of people onto YouTube, and I understand that they have, I'm not going to call it a relationship, but they can count on Lo-Fi Girl to keep viewers on platform, for a substantial amount of time, and to keep coming onto YouTube to listen to them in the background and all of that. Lo-Fi Girl has a huge brand on YouTube. I respect that. However, the fact that they can just put out a tweet and get something like that handled, where in your situation, you are getting, a fraudulent claim here, and you're just having to like risk that dispute. Because another part of this broken system, in my opinion, and I'll stop ranting here in a second because I don't want to turn this into just like a negative thing here. But another thing that that is broken about this is you'll also see in your case when you go to dispute that, well, actually not even your strike, because you already got the strike, like you're already hit. So when people get a claim, one of the disclaimers that pops up when you're disputing that claim is, by submitting this claim, if it ends up not working out in your favor, I can't remember the exact language, but it's like if it doesn't end up working out in your favor, then you risk getting a strike because it doesn't work out in your favor, even if it's a fraudulent claim. So like that, it's just the whole thing, in my opinion, is broken. Because like if you have like me, right? If I were to get a copyright strike from any video on my channel, and to be fair, I'm probably not gonna dispute it. Even if it's a claim, I would still, I would. But anyway, like I would be worried about it though, because I'd be like, even though I know that I have the rights to use this and blah, 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 like I would still be just a little bit nervous when hitting that button, because if for whatever reason it didn't work out in my favor and I can't, hop on with YouTube, technically, I can, just based on being able to, connect through, the support and all that. But, most content creators, they can't just hop on with YouTube and be like, hey, this is going on and blah, blah, blah. They just have to deal with it and take the hit, so to speak. So that whole side of things when it comes to, the copyright system. Yeah, like everything about, I won't say everything, but most things about YouTube is awesome in terms of the opportunity that we have here, the reach that we can have, how we can impact people with our content, how if we make good content, they'll put it in front of, the people that will, come in and interact with it and all of that. If you're a business person, they essentially can find your customers for you if you're making the right content. All that stuff is awesome. But the copyright system, man, they really, really need to work on that one. Renee's like, yeah, rants appreciated. Yeah, man. Like, that if there's one message like to get through, yeah, they really gotta, they really gotta do something about that. So let's see here. So as we keep on going through this list here, we've got. Yeah, D says here, content ID can be good, but it's been weaponized and it's full of flaws. Absolutely. Well, it's being weaponized and monetized, as well, because, people are fraudulently, using it to, try to get ad revenue and, all this other crazy stuff. It's nuts. That's why we made Creator Mix. So Rude Guy says that, let's see here, comedy content, the goal of the channel is to entertain and grow my brand as a full-time career. And the question is, hey, Nick, thank you for the great advice. The RPM on my my adult comedy is very limited, $2. So any advice to increase this? I create adult-only dubbed funny videos, which would explain the low RPM. I've grown to 59,000 subscribers in 1 year. First off, congratulations on 59,000 subscribers in 1 year. That's incredible. Nice work. Second, when it comes to, your content, if you are making not be suitable for a large amount of advertisers, and because of that, they're probably not showing many ads on your content. That's probably what you're working with. So what you would need to do in that situation is to kind of tone down the content to make it more advertiser friendly. And I know that some people have a problem with that, others don't. But if you're wanting to Okay, it looks like we might be back. Microphone checka 1212. Let's see if we are back here. I was just getting ready to come in with my phone, and it looks like I'm. Are we good? Can you hear me? Is this thing on? Is this thing on? Can you hear me? Okay, we're back. Okay, fantastic. So Brian G. Johnson in the house. What is going on? D sending me messages too, like asking, what did he just say there? Yeah, D's like, let's see here. You sound sick. Are you? No, we were just singing and stuff last night, just being silly, and I just went a little bit too far. So here, what happened? Are you? You're back. Okay, yeah. So we're good to go. Okay, so that right there. So for those of you that are live streamers, one thing I just want to highlight here really quick. So what happened is my power was fine, but the internet just had like some type of hiccup, and StreamYard was able to hold the stream open for us. So that's one huge bonus of using StreamYard. So it looks like the internet's still, maybe a little bit low based on this report that I'm getting. But at the end of the day, if you're a live streamer, at the very least, even if you use something else like OBS to live stream, you should port it through StreamYard. So in the event that you have a situation like that they still hold it open for you in the cloud. StreamYard for the win. Absolutely. So, all right, let's keep on trucking. So next up, we've got Salad Cream Boys Wellbeing. He uploads when he has time. It's a mental health, self-care, and well-being channel. The goal of the channel is to help those with anxiety through simple tips to manage their mental health and to monetize. The question is, hey Nick, I've recently gained a lot of subscribers for my shorts content, but my channel isn't specifically a shorts channel. So, just so it doesn't completely drown out my long form content, is there a good balance for those who have long and short form on their channel without creating a second channel? So in terms of drowning out your long form content, keep in mind that your long form content is going to go out to different people than the short form content. So there's going to be a little bit of crossover in some cases, but really the short content right now is used to get you in front of, newer people. So again, there'll be some crossover, but at the end of the day, your longer form content is going to get you in front of, different people than your shorts will. So because of that, if you want to continue making shorts, I think you'll be fine. And I wouldn't worry about necessarily like drowning, one type of content, drowning you out. Let me refresh this here. It's like my live chat's being on. There we go. Okay. So as we keep on going here, we've got Carla YouTuber says they have a famous phrases channel. The goal of the channel says, I'd like to someday be known as a writer. And the question is, hello, Nick, on my channel, I publish famous phrases of philosophers. I'd like to know if that can bring me copyright or monetization problems. Thanks and have a good day. You know what? When it comes to copyright with like quotes and things like that, I honestly don't know. I've never actually looked into that. I've never had any experience with that. So I really don't know if quotes would fall under that or not. So what I recommend that you do, Organized Soprano. Okay, what is going on? I hope you're fantastic. Nice to see you in the stream today. But what I would do in that case is if you are going to build an entire channel around it, I would just dig around the internet, see if you can find something there, or just reach out to a copyright attorney, pay whatever, small fee that you have to just to have them answer a question and answer or ask that question. Hot Mess History with T said what T said says, hey Nick, thank you and everyone here who gave me tips for monetization outside of ad revenue. I made some extra money using those tips already, and I hit 95,000 subscribers yesterday. I'll give you one more applause on this one. Yesterday, next stop, play button. First off, high five and fist bump to you. Here it is, this one. I'm just going to take it back to this one for a second. High five and fist bump to you for 95,000 subscribers and for implementing the additional monetization options. Like one of the things that I see from time to time here, because, like I see, a lot of the people that are in the chat, and then I would see people, comment and stuff. Sometimes I'll come back into the chat, after the stream is over, like the next day or something. And I'll go and I'll just start popping channels open, looking at people's channels and stuff. And one of the things that I run into a lot is that, people will hang out in the streams. Some of you will hang out in the streams and you'll hear all this stuff, right? But you won't actually apply any of it to your YouTube channel. So the fact that you are just taking, some of the information, you're like, hey, yeah, let me try that and see how that goes. and that you're already making money from, doing those things, huge win. And congratulations to you for one, getting the win, but two, just for, being for taking action on this stuff. So let's see here. So next up on our list here, okay, we got Carla YouTuber already. Epic Gamer, thank you. I appreciate it. So really quick, Epic Gamer Family says, hey Nick, I love your multi-camera setup. How do you have it automatically rotated without touching the Stream Deck? I'm not using a Stream Deck for it. So here, I'll show you real quick. So let me turn this off and turn this on. So basically what I have here is this right here is called a ATEM Mini Extreme. And they have smaller ones too. They have ATEM Minis, ATEM Mini Pros, and they make it to where you can plug in 4 different cameras. So like in this case, this is a GoPro, and then I've got, a bunch of cameras over here, camera up there. And with that, I can use up to 8 with this particular device here, which is also an ATEM Mini. It's just the bigger version. But you can do this with the ATEM Mini, just the base ATEM Mini. And when you are changing the cameras, basically this device, it comes with software. And that software, you can set up what's called macros. And with those macros, you can say, go to this camera for this amount of time, this camera for this amount of time, that camera for this amount of time, back to this camera, and so on. And you create ahead of your stream, and it saves it. So you just have to set it up once. But you create these sequences before your stream, and then right before you start your stream, then you just turn on the sequence, and then it'll start switching for you. So so here I just turned on the sequence, so it just went ahead and switched back here for me there. Brian G. Johnson, what's up, my man? Hope that you're doing fantastic. Nice to see you in the stream today. Hope that you are doing awesome. Nice to see you. Nice to see you back in here. So we've got the Fury, the Furry, and the Fury. Oh, hey, really quick. Doug mentioned that I had a super chat here that I overlooked. So let me grab that here really quick. So we got Scott Invert. Says, my channel is very niche, tarantulas mainly. How can I pull people in who wouldn't normally watch this type of content? Well, the thing is with YouTube, if you are trying to get them to enjoy the content, then you want to pull people in that are into, tarantulas. Technically, you could make videos about something else and then introduce your tarantula to them that way. But at the end of the day, if you have an entire channel about tarantulas, you want to pull people in that are into tarantulas. And that's okay, right? It's perfectly fine. So, like a lot of people will want to go like as general as possible in terms of the audience that they're trying to reach so they can tap into like a bigger group of people. And sometimes that works against people because, they need to have that core audience of people that are, into it. So every video that they publish is going to be a good fit for that person. So when it comes to, trying to get in people that wouldn't normally be interested in tarantulas, if we think about that one for a second, you might end up hurting your audience retention on that if you bring them in on something else and then, you start, hitting them with tarantula content because some people are creeped out by, tarantulas. So because of that, you might end up having, okay click-through rate, but then your, retention might suffer there. So I recommend, just tapping into people that are, interested in tarantulas. But if you can find anything else that's popular that isn't related to tarantulas, but they might have, tarantulas or something like that, like a celebrity that collects spiders or something like that, then making a video about them, you might have some people come into that video that are interested in that particular person. But then again, you run into that scenario to where, they're interested in that person, not necessarily the tarantulas. So therefore they're not likely to subscribe to the channel. So that's, it's kind of like a hard request. It's a hard request to make, wanting people to come in, to like tarantulas that aren't expecting that aren't expecting tarantulas. Carlene Geisha says, can you put a big YouTuber name in your title and tag? So that is called misleading metadata. When you do that, if the YouTube content creator, if the video is not about them or they are not involved in the video in any way. So for example, in my space, and it's actually a different niche. It's not necessarily, the YouTube help space. It's where people make all these theories on like why they think a content creator did well. And they make it sound, really good. But like when they make that type of content, they will they'll put the YouTuber's name in that content because the entire thing is about that YouTuber. There's tons of channels like this where they basically just break down content creator success and all that. With those channels, they'll put the content creator, their photo in there, they'll put their name in there, their name will be in the tags, the whole thing. It'll be about that content creator. So by doing that, all of that data, matches up to where, some of those videos will actually end up in front of the audience that loves that content creator as well. But in that case, though, they're being compliant in terms of they're not misleading people in any way because that video is about that content creator. However, if you put a big YouTuber's name in your title and tags and your video isn't about them, and they are not participating in your content, then you could fall under misleading metadata. They actually used to have, and you can probably still find it in the Google Help pages if they've moved it over to there, but they actually had a specific blurb, I've got screenshots of it somewhere, that they had in the YouTube Creator Academy to where it specifically called out using another content creator's name in your tags is misleading metadata. So you definitely want to avoid doing that. Some people will do that as a way to try to they think that if they put that content creator's name in their tags as an example, that it'll cause some type of data connection on YouTube, but just a tag isn't going to, one tag with that person's name isn't going to make a difference there. So only use another YouTuber's name or a celebrity or any of that. Only use their stuff in your content if it's about them or if they're involved in the content in some way, like a collaboration or something like that. So for example, Brian G. Johnson's in the house. If Brian and I were to do a collaboration, and I said, how to get more views on your videos in the next 24 hours with Brian G. Johnson, then in that case, that would be okay because it would be our collaboration. He would be the one sharing, the majority of that content and things like that. So it'd be perfectly okay. But if I said how to get more views on YouTube in 24 hours with Brian G. Johnson and Brian's not in my video, and let's say I used him in the thumbnail, he's in the thumbnail and he's not in the video, there's nothing there, then I'm essentially trying to hijack his name. And it's misleading to the viewer. More importantly, it's misleading to the viewers who would click on that video expecting information about Brian G. Johnson. Let's see here. Dan the Cake Cooker. Yeah, him too. Yeah, that would be the next channel. So next up on our list here, we've got the Furry and the Fury. So they upload one time per week or more. They do animal behavior advice and review. The goal of the channel is to teach people the evidence-based techniques instead of using fear and pain. The question is, I have around 460 subscribers. Cakes by Chapo. What's up, my man? Hope that you're doing awesome. Nice to see you in here. Says I have around 460 subscribers. I was thinking of streaming live and answering the public's questions, but because it's a small channel, I'm afraid no one will show up. Does YouTube promote scheduled lives? Should I do it? So YouTube will show scheduled lives to the people that they think are likely to enjoy that. Usually it'll be people that are, already engaged in your channel in some way. Having a small channel before you're going live is perfectly okay. But one thing to keep in mind is that it is possible that when you go live that you might have one person come in there. You might not have anybody come in there. That is a thing that happens. So just a quick story for you, just to kind of push that fear aside a little bit. Is the very first live stream I did on my channel was a thumbnail tutorial. I was showing people how to make a thumbnail in real time during that live stream, and I was testing that, learning how to do it so I could teach people, how to go live as well, because that's something content creators need. And in that particular video, I had 2 people come in while I was live. And I was like, I think the stream was like 30 minutes or something like that. And at that time, I was like, oh my gosh, there's people in here, hey, welcome to the stream. And I was, super excited about it and all that by having, those 2 people in there. But they're the only 2 people that came through on that live stream. After that stream, because I was doing it at that moment for the sake of learning how to do it. But after that stream, I didn't stream again until I had over 10,000 subscribers on the channel. So I did have people come through, but, at that moment in time, my thing wasn't, that I was going to be live streaming all the time or anything like that. So a couple things to think about for anybody that's wanting to live stream and that has that fear about people not coming in. First off, your fears are typically based on, the future. They're typically based on, our own, insecurities in terms of what if nobody's in this stream? That means that, people don't like my content or people don't like me or whatever the thing is because they're not coming in and hanging out in my stream. But that's not the case at all. Sometimes just the topic of the stream won't pull people in. Sometimes people just don't like live streams. Like I've done community polls on my channel, and a large percentage of my audience, they don't even like live streams. But for those of you that do like them, we're here now. But majority of the people that watch my videos, they don't enjoy live streams and they don't participate, and that's cool. That's fine, not a big deal. But you might find the same thing to where you might find that a majority of your audience doesn't even like live streams. But you could also find the opposite to where majority of your audience might love them, and the people that come into your live streams might be, and they're like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting for you to go live. I'm so happy that you went live, and they might love it. But when it comes to any experimentation like this, first off, the way that you win is by pushing through any of those types of fears that you have. So if you're, afraid of going live because you might not have viewers, the best thing you can do is go live, so you can just go ahead and get over that fear, because if you don't, that fear is just going to keep climbing. And what's going to happen, and I can tell you this from experience, is, when you go live at 460 subscribers, it's a totally different experience than when you go live when you have a bunch of subscribers. And going live to one person or no people is sometimes better than going live in front of 50 people or 100 people. And the reason for that is because when you make a mistake in front of one person or when no people are there, it's not that big of a deal. It's like, oh gosh, glad nobody was here. But when I mess up here in front of, 200 and something, 280 people, we've hit, around 300 here and there. Like when I mess up, then there's a lot of people that see it. Right. So then that pressure, gets more intense, like as you start having more people, participate. So it goes in both directions. So I just want you to know that. But a couple things to think about, though, when you go live for your first time. The best thing you can do is just go ahead and plan your live stream ahead of time, so that you know everything it is that you're going to be doing in your live stream. So that as soon as your live stream starts, you're not hanging out and just being like, hey, I'm going to wait for some people to join. Just pretend like you have hundreds of people that are watching your live stream. And the reason that you want to do that is because you want to start your live stream, start, sharing the information that you have about your animal behavior advice, and actually start giving the content, so that when you leave it up for the replay, people can still enjoy it as a piece of content, because you started the stream, you came in, just started giving information just like I do here with these, so that, as people do come into these on the replay, if they want to skip around all that, like they can still get great information, but I make sure that I front load all of that stuff while people are coming into the stream, so that as people are coming in on the replay, they know where they can find, everything else. And on my news streams that I just started, with those, when I do those live streams, same exact thing. I come in and I start, hey, welcome to YouTube News, or whatever it is that I say there. And in that case, that whole thing is designed for the replay. So I don't even interact with the people that come into that stream until I get through all of the news. And then I have just a little segment that I just recently started doing to where, I just have some, feedback and all that stuff, to where I just interact with people that hang out there. So when it comes to streaming to no one, or just having, a low amount of viewers, don't worry about it. Don't let it bother you. Just think of it as like, this is just a stepping stone. So, this one stream that I do where I might have 0 people or 1 people or 10 people or whatever it is, based on, because everybody interprets, what a lot of people is differently, or, what is enough, everybody interprets that differently. So just think of it like, hey, regardless of how many people I have come into my stream, I'm taking the action of learning how to live stream, of learning how to do this thing, so that as I progress through this process of being a content creator, that this is a skill that I'm developing. And in order to develop that skill, I got to go live. So that means if 10 people hang out, if 1 person hangs out, or 1,000 people come and hang out, I have to go through this process of actually doing the thing in order to eventually get that thing that I'm after, with the value that I'm giving, the goals that I have, for the channel and all that good stuff. Next, we've got David is the name of the channel here. And the type of channel is gaming. They do entertaining and practical tips in their gaming. The goal of the channel is love it, but I want to see it grow. Question: everything I examined, I test a lot, points to the fact that the YouTube algorithm directs traffic to established channels to maximize their own income. That's not true. Next, they say that doesn't surprise me, as Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Apple, etc. does the exact same thing. Every company on the planet of the surface does. Looking through competition glasses, it's easy to understand that YouTube uses competition to make money on our videos. This is why the algorithm boosts competition by a factor of 10, so the biggest channels can easily grow bigger and the small channels can't really grow. They're ignored by the algo, and YouTube makes a lot of money this way. Prove me wrong. Okay. So we just had somebody in here that grew their channel to 59,000 subscribers in their first year. That is impossible if YouTube limits small content creators. There are content creators, as we're having this conversation, that have went from 0 to, you know, thousands of views just since this live stream has started, that have just published their very first video. That's happening all over the platform, all over the world on YouTube as we're having this conversation right now. The limited idea that you have here in terms of saying that YouTube prioritizes larger content creators over small content creators, the reason that you have that is a lot of people don't want to look internally and say, people aren't responding to my content because I'm not doing the right things. People don't want to do that. But within that, there is one part of what it is that you're saying that is correct. That is that when you have a larger audience, YouTube has a lot more data on your channel in terms of who is going to be a good fit for that content. In addition to that, they have a very good understanding of how people typically respond to the content that you're publishing. How good is it at keeping people watching, you know, and all that good stuff? Do people share it a lot, bring people onto the platform and all of that? So the difference is, when I publish, let's say you and me, let's say we both made a video about, you know, on our channels about, you know, whatever our thing is, right? So we'll just say that, you know, we both made a video on our channels about, you know, an iPhone app or something. At the time of publish, my video is going to most likely do better than yours if you have 100 subscribers on your channel, because I have a larger data set in terms of people that have interacted on my channel in the past. Plus, I have a lot of recently active people throughout my content on my YouTube channel, where if you have 100 you know, subscribers, there's a really good chance you don't even have a lot of content on your channel yet that is driving a decent amount of real-time views. So what happens is, when I publish my video, initially I'll do better. However, that does not mean that over time your video won't destroy mine in terms of the overall performance if yours gets a better response than mine does. So at the time of publish, I'll win. But long term, that time of publish doesn't mean anything compared to if people start responding to your videos more than they start responding to mine, then yours will do better long term. So to put this one, you know, as an example for you as well, I have videos on my channel right now. I've got, you know, 800 and something thousand subscribers on my channel. I have videos that I've made for sponsors. Of course, you know, I have to, you know, we basically come up with the topic ideas and things that they want me to make and all that. But like, I have some videos on the channel from sponsors that don't even have like 10,000 views on them, right? To whereas there's plenty of people here in this chat right now that have less than 1,000 subscribers that have videos with over 10,000 views on them, right? So like what you're saying right here, it's easy to punch holes in like everything that you just said here, but there are, you know, that factor of the initial time of publish. But another thing to make sure that you are considering is when it comes to ad revenue on YouTube, YouTube has a gazillion different channels they can show ads on. So yes, the larger YouTube channels do have a majority of the traffic on YouTube. And the reason for that is because they're huge for a reason. Like Mr. Beast, the amount of effort that he puts into his videos, you and I aren't willing to do that. And because of that, we don't get Mr. Beast results, right? Content type and all that stuff also plays a factor, but even still, like even if I was making entertainment content, I know that I'm not gonna do it at the level that he does it. That's why he's Mr. Beast and I'm not, right? So the same exact thing goes for, you know, everybody here. You know, when we are, you know, when we're putting our content together, like if people, you know, are responding well to it, if you have a small channel, you can get 1 million views on that video. If you have a large channel, you can get 1 million views on that video. If you have a small channel, you're not guaranteed to get 10 views on that video. If you have a huge channel, you're not guaranteed to get 10 videos on that either. There are plenty of huge YouTube channels that get 0 traffic at all. They publish a video and people just don't respond to it anymore, or they've changed something and people just don't respond to what it is that they're doing. So channel size is not a guarantee of video performance. And you have to understand that, because as soon as you start putting this limit about, you know, YouTube or whatever platform it is that you're on, doesn't promote my content or whatever, as soon as you start doing that, you're taking the responsibility off of yourself, right? But you have to own it, and you have to look in the mirror and say, I'm getting the results that I'm getting because I'm getting the results that I'm getting based on what it is that I'm putting into what it is that I'm doing, and what it is that I'm willing to do, the way that I'm thinking about what it is that I'm doing right now, the skills that I currently have, the understanding that I currently have. Like, this is all on me, and you have to own it. Now, of course, like I said, at the time of publish, things are different. But in terms of the long-term performance of videos, you have just as good a chance of getting 1 million views as I do. All right, so let's see here. I love those comments. Like that particular one, I argue with people on Reddit with that one a lot. That's like my outlet, right? Like that's my thing with Reddit, is I come in there for those. So let's see here. Chan Samai's Kitchen says that they do cooking content. The goal of the channel is to earn side income, and the question is, for cooking channel, what should I take should I only take a picture as a thumbnail, or should I take a picture and edit, put words in the picture? Which do you think will get more clicks and views? Thank you. I think you should experiment with both. If you take a high quality photo, then in that case, you can absolutely just focus the imagery on the food and just make it, look delicious. In that case, I would experiment with that, and I would experiment with, I would always put a strong focus on the food, because that's what the content's about, and that will help people that are interested in food content identify at a glance, without having to think about it, that it's about something related to food. So because of that, I would always use the food in there. However, when it comes to text, in a lot of cases, like, you don't even need text in thumbnails, especially with that type of content. So text can be helpful. Text can carry a lot of weight in a thumbnail. In some cases, all text thumbnails will also get clicks on them. But when you are focusing, in your particular case, taking a really good picture, making sure that you're like being intentional about it. Don't just be like, hey, it's sitting on the table, you gotta take a quick picture and just make it my thumbnail. Like, make sure the lighting's good, take some few pictures, adjust it in your camera, put it into like Snapseed or something like that, or Lightroom on your phone, make some adjustments to it to make everything pop and make it nice and saturated and all that, and then publish it. But you don't, just make sure that you know that you don't have to put text in your thumbnails, but text can help support, ideas and things like that. And in some cases, just putting, all text, can do the thing too. So let's see here. Next up in our list. Oh yeah, another thing here on that small channel problem that we were talking about before is Magic Prepper here mentions that all channels start small, right? Which is also, another very valid, point. Every large channel on YouTube started out as a small channel on YouTube with like no interaction at all. Everybody had to get there. So Style Setter says that they, let's see here, been making videos for 1 year or more. They do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to make the hobby into a job. And the question is, any tips on finding the time to make videos as a full-time working family person? So
Viper, man about tech.
What's up, my man? Hope you're doing awesome. Welcome to the stream. Hey, dude, if you get the chance, will you send me just like an audio clip of, just like, what's up, people? I would love to just have that trigger so I could hit it, when you come in. But it says, any tips for finding the time to make videos as a full-time working family person? So the challenge that you have when it comes to having, a family, a social life, a job, plus a YouTube channel, is it's really you have to mix the type of content that you make with something that's sustainable. So like part of my presentation actually at Vid Summit is about, creating just like a rock solid foundation for your YouTube channel. And this is part of it. So like, I'm not saying it's part of the presentation, but I mean, it's part of, like this idea is, going to be part of the presentation. But like, when it comes to, balancing things out, some people that have a little bit of time will want to make content that will take up way more time than they have available. So one of the things that you have to do is, if you want to do YouTube as one of the things that you're doing, is you have to make sure that the content type that you choose to make, or the, subject matter that you choose to talk about or show, or like in your case, you're doing gaming content, you have to make sure that the content that you choose to make, that you do have, that you can make the content that is fast enough to make that you can work it into your schedule. And the reason for that is because if you don't, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to not ever have time to be able to do all the things that you got to do. So I unfortunately had to make that call a long time ago myself as well, as part of my journey. So I started another channel. I started this channel, and then I ended up working on another channel for like 9 months. Great channel. I absolutely love that channel. I love the content over there and everything, but the content at that moment in time in my life and, everything else that I was doing, I just didn't have the time to maintain it. So because of that, I ended up just completely burning out and all this stuff. And I ended up having to leave that channel because I just couldn't fit it into my lifestyle at that moment in time. So because of that, I had to come here back to this channel and I had to start talking about, the things that I was also dealing with at that time, just because the channel that I was making on this content, it was, stuff that I knew about, based on the experiences that I was having. So it was just easier and faster content to make. So I knew that I was hooked on YouTube. I knew I had the bug. I knew this is something that I wanted to do, but I just had to figure out like, okay, I'm committed. Like I'm going to do this, but I just have to figure out like where I can do it in a way to where I can continually do it without it just driving me, nuts and not giving me, any time, because, I want to do something that I enjoy, not something that's going to completely stress me out all the time because I don't have any time. So because of that, when you are, trying to balance these things out, the very first thing that you have to think about is, how much time do I actually have that I can work on this? So since you're a gamer, I'm going to guess, since you're making gaming content, I'm going to guess that you're playing games, at least a fair amount of time. So you have time for that. So if you have time for games, then in that particular case, maybe taking, some of your game time and just cutting it in half and saying, okay, since my gaming is my leisure thing, and right now I'm trying to turn my hobby into a job, part of monetizing this gaming thing is making YouTube videos for it. So therefore, I'm going to take my gaming time and I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to only give myself a certain amount of time playing the games that I'm recording my content for, and then I'm going to spend the other half of that time actually putting the content together to publish videos onto YouTube. Because it's really easy to get, sucked into the game and just spend hours playing the game, but how much time do you actually need in order to get the content that you need in order to, to make YouTube videos out of it? So this is one of those moments to where you have to, you have to make the call on, like, what do I prioritize? And then, by doing that, then you're going to, kind of force yourself to answer some questions about, how you're spending your time and things like that, so that you can, do the thing that you are wanting to do the most. And within that, another thing that can be helpful as well is when you are, publishing content and you're trying to balance all this stuff out, is if you schedule your day and you schedule your week and all of that based around the commitments that you already have, then you can see the holes in your schedule and you can say, oh, hey, I've got like 3 hours on Wednesday. I've got 2 hours on Tuesday. I've got, 5 hours on Thursday. I've got 1 hour on Friday. And you can start seeing over the course of the week, okay, these are all the places where I can fill in with making the content for my YouTube channel, and schedule them in. Just like, at, on your job, you got to wake up at like 9 o'clock or, you got to be there, I think, at 9 o'clock for the jobs. So like you got to show up there at 9 o'clock. So that you have to wake up at a certain time and you have to do certain things in order to make sure that you show up at your job. So if you're wanting to turn your hobby into your job, then what you have to do next is you have to say, okay, I have to make my hobby as important as that as well. So of course you got to keep the income coming from your job. But what I'm saying is you have to sacrifice some other things within your schedule in order to make sure that you can take the steps necessary in order to turn, your hobby into either, side money or your actual job. So hopefully that helps. But at the end of the day, schedule it, right? If you schedule it in and make it a priority, then you'll get it done. Next up, we've got Love with Jay. Love with Jay says, let's see here. They have a channel about tips to improve relationships, and the goal of the channel is to help people and someday hopefully make this my full-time job. That seems to be a theme today. And the question is, hey Nick, I started my channel a few days ago and I want to make videos about tips to improve relationships. Hey, congratulations on the creator side, right? Becoming hopping over here to this side of YouTube. Says, but I've been analyzing the niche and I see it's very saturated and the big channel's already well positioned. How can I grow and make a place for myself? Or do you recommend looking for another niche with less competition? Thanks for your videos. God bless you. So when it comes to deciding the content that you want to make, for your YouTube channel, one of the things that are really important to consider is that you're going to be doing this for a while. And since you're going to be doing this for a while, it's really important to make sure that you are considering that you're making that you are deciding to make content around something that you really enjoy and that you love talking about, because you're going to be known for that. You're going to be making content about it all the time. You're going to be reading, different stuff about it, watching different videos about it and all that stuff, so you can stay up to date with everything. So because of that, it's really important to make sure that you are making content about the things that you enjoy the most, so that you can ensure that you're going to see it through, that you're going to continue making content and all of that. So I'd really make sure that you make that as a priority, not if it's saturated or not. Because here's the thing with content that's saturated, is if you are not making the content, it's not saturated. So what I mean by that is, if you look at gaming, you would think to yourself like, oh, there's a gajillion gaming channels, which there are, But because there's a gazillion gaming channels, then I probably don't even have a chance to, to kind of rise to prominence, so to speak, in the gaming world. That is incorrect. The reason that it's incorrect is because when you start making gaming content, you're going to be doing gaming content with your personality and with the way that you do things. You're going to be putting videos together based on your tastes and the way that you like things. You're going to be using little highlight moments that you like, that you think are funny, that you think are entertaining, that you think people should see. And those are all the little things that are going to help you stand out to other people that see things the way that you do in that regard. So because of that, even if you're coming into something that's extremely saturated, the fact that you are coming in with your twist, so to speak, or your points of view, that by itself is the thing that is going to, help you stand out in that space. And just because there's a lot of other people doing it doesn't mean that people aren't going to respond to you when you're doing it. The fact that there's a lot of other people doing it and that there's a lot of other successful people doing it, that shows you that it's possible. That shows you that through their success, that you can also do something similar and have similar success or maybe even greater success because they've already even, proven the concept or paved the path in terms of, them proving that, you can grow a large channel in the gaming world. So because of that, it's really important to not look at content and think to yourself like, oh, it's completely saturated, but instead look at it and think, okay, there's a lot of people doing this. And, you could say that it's saturated, but what can I do that's just a little bit different, that can add just a little bit of a different type of value that can help me stand out from this sea of other people that are making content like this? And when you can identify that thing, first off, you as the person, like you are a huge part of that. But then if you can also come in with just some additional things that might help you stand out a little bit, then, those are the things that will separate you from everybody that's trying to copy each other and trying to do, the same things that all the other gamers are doing and all of that. So, so because of that, make sure that when you come into it with that, that idea of like, what can I introduce to this space? How can I do things a little bit differently? And Chantel says, put the U in YouTube. Absolutely. Shelby on Safari says, embrace what makes you unique. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All the way around. Cakes by Choppa says, nobody does what I do like I do it. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's why you're the cake man. So next up on the list, we got Summit the Dragon. Summit the Dragon says they do art and entertainment content, goal to channels to make others laugh and to get 100 subscribers. The goal of the channel, I said that one already. The question is, how do you promote a live stream beforehand? I've only gotten 2 randos on my YouTube live stream. How do I get more randos on my live stream, so to speak? So schedule it in advance. When it comes to promoting it, you can, share it out on your other social media accounts and things like that. But if you schedule it in advance, then, some of your people that are interacting with your content will see it, and then they'll get the option to hit that reminder or not. In addition to that, make sure that you do, if you do schedule it, make sure that you do have that section on your channel page where it will show your scheduled live streams for the people that will hit your channel page. Next up, GTA Tips is the name of the channel. Cool. Gaming content. The goal of the channel is to make an income. And the question is, in the analytics window, I can follow a video's views in real time. It says 4,087 views in the past hour, but when I look at the video from a stranger's perspective, it says 3,000 views. Why is there a difference? After a few hours, regulates both numbers, 30 to 40% down. Why? So basically, the views that you're seeing are the views that are coming in. The views that the public are seeing are the actual verified views. So on YouTube, there's bots running all over, as you've probably experienced with some of the explicit, channels that have, posted a few times here that the mods hopped on really quick. Thank you for that, by the way. But basically, there's tons of bots all over YouTube, and those bots are interacting with content. In addition to that, some people, will have multiple browsers open, that sort of thing. And YouTube is tracking like all of these, different things, and they are verifying those views as they're coming in. That's why you see a delay on your end compared to what the public sees, is because on your end, you just see like the bulk of like what's happening. But what they show is the delayed version, so to speak, to where in a lot of cases, what you're seeing will end up being on, will end up showing publicly. But in some cases, you'll see a little bit of a discrepancy, but there is a little bit of a delay there based on what you see and what the public sees. But it's because they're verifying the views. The system is verifying the views. There's not like a person like Bob. Bob is sitting there in some little booth somewhere, and he's like, yep, legit. Oh, there's a bad one. Here's a bad one. There's another bad. Oh, legit. Yeah, Bob isn't in there doing that, but their system is. So Constantine is our next channel here. Constantine says that they are getting ready to start their channel. The kind of channel is photography, gear, and travel. The goal of the channel says I want to become self-employed doing what I love. And the question is, should I upload my vlogs to my gear photography channel, or will this dilute my content? Maybe I should combine it with vlogs in a cool location where I review gear. Making some type of bridge like that where you're combining it with the topic that you talk about is a huge win. So if it's like a vlog, like, hey, because you're talking about photography, gear, and travel. So when you are making videos about photography, then every video that you publish, you want to be talking in some capacity about photography. If you're vlogging, you're taking people to the mall, you want to be taking people to the mall because you're going to be taking pictures at the mall and you're going to be showing them that stuff. Or you're taking people to the mall because you're checking out cameras and you're going to bring them along for that journey so they can get your opinions on the different cameras you're looking at, things like that. So when it comes to, you know, the exact thing that you're putting out, you just want to think of it through the filter of, these are the people that I'm trying to reach that are interested in you know, these particular things. If I were to publish this video on my channel, would it be a home run grand slam for these people in terms of something that they would care about? If the answer is yes, then it's great, it's good to go. If the answer is like, I put out all this camera gear stuff and they typically come in for this, but they're probably not going to care about, like, you know, like me, you know, going to an amusement park, just hanging out, right? So you just have to run it through that filter of, you know, for what my audience comes in based on the value proposition that I have for the channel, the value that I'm giving them, is this a good fit for, you know, for them or not? So for example, I could start publishing vlogs here and some people would watch them, but it's not like the real core value that I offer. And because of that, you know, the likelihood of them just completely bombing would be huge. Initially, because it would be a novelty initially. Initially, they might do okay, but long term they would be likely to bomb unless I just blew your socks off with the vlogs that I put together. Oh my gosh, I didn't know Nick could vlog like that. Then you know, it'd be different. But let's see here. So we got Rusty Graffiti Reviews. Rusty Graffiti blah 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 says they do product reviews, paints, inks, markers, spray paint reviews, and other graffiti content. The goal of the channel is to share my 25+ experience of a younger generation and possibly make a little coin here and there. A little coin. And the question is, can you talk more about the future possibility of shared ad revenue with popular music artists, and will that count for already made videos, or just use Nick's music, y'all? Yeah, just use our music, right? Use Creator Mix. But when it comes to the future possibility, basically what they're going to be doing is it's just like an ad share essentially, to where you're basically going to be able to like split revenue and that kind of stuff. With the rights holders. So with that information, I'm not like really in tune with it yet because it was just, an announcement that was put out. But just like you, when those announcements come out, like I'll share what I know at that moment in time. And I still don't know tons about exactly what it is that they're going to be doing with that. Once I do, then definitely ask that question in the future once they actually start rolling it out and I have some more information on it. But as of right now, I don't know the deep details of that to really lead you along on that one. So I'll go to the next question. So next up, we got First Riders. First Riders says they upload every other day. They have a gaming reaction channel. The goal is to get 1,000 subscribers. And the question is, how do you get subscribers? So people subscribe to YouTube channels for a bunch of different reasons. But out of all those different reasons, most of the time, it's because they really enjoy the content. So if you want to get more subscribers, then you have to make sure that the content that you're putting out, that it's as good as you can possibly make it. And the people that are enjoying that content will subscribe. Of course, there are things that you can do called calls to action, where you invite people to take a specific action. One of those that we do here on YouTube is where we ask people to subscribe to the channel. That is proven to be effective. So when you ask people to subscribe, you are essentially reminding them that they have that option to subscribe. As YouTubers, we're thinking about subscribe all the time because we want subscribers. But for a civilian, somebody that's not a YouTuber, for them, they're not necessarily thinking about, hey, I want to subscribe to these channels. I want to subscribe. I'm watching this. Hey, I'm watching this video. I better subscribe. I'm watching this video. I better subscribe. What they're thinking about is like, wow, that's interesting. Is that a pool in their backyard? Oh, that's a cute dog. Oh, that's adorable. Wow, I didn't even know they had it. Oh, that's cute. Or they're thinking like, oh yeah, it's, I needed to hear this today. That like really fired me up. This is exactly what I'm looking for. Now I'm going to start my day and I'm going to completely crush the day today. Right? Like they're thinking about stuff like that. They're not thinking about, should I subscribe to this? Should I not subscribe to this? Like what's going on? So because of that, those calls to action are helpful as just a little reminder that, hey, I make content like this on a regular basis. So if you're enjoying this video, remember to subscribe. Just a really quick blurb you can drop into your videos. But first, you got to make sure you're making good content, because if you're not making good content, you can ask people to subscribe until you're blue in the face, so to speak, and they're still not going to subscribe if they're not getting, you know, any type of value out of the content. So because of that, you have to start with the content. So here's what I recommend. Instead of like focusing right now on like, hey, how do I get as many subscribers as possible? What I would like to invite you to try is, instead of thinking, how can I get subscribers as fast as possible? How can I quickly get to 1,000 subscribers? Swap that around and think to yourself, how can I add as much value to these people that are watching my videos as I possibly can? I'm making reaction videos to games. How can I make these as entertaining as humanly possible? How can I make this to where somebody clicks on this, they have no choice but to continue watching this? As they continue watching this, how can I put this together in a way that's going to take people a minute further, and then a minute further, and then a minute further? Like, focus on those things, and then you'll get subscribers. And you won't even have to like question it. You won't have to worry about it. If you focus on like that value and that experience that the viewers are going to have with your content, then all of the other things that you want from YouTube are going to come. So like, for example, you know, we've had people in here, you know, talking about turning it into like a revenue source and things like that. Same exact thing applies. In order to have all of these things happen that, you know, that people come onto YouTube for, even, you know, growing your channel, connecting with communities of like-minded people and all of that, all of these things happen from, you know, good content. So you have to make sure that you're focusing on the viewer first and what it is that they're getting from your content. And then, you know, as you start focusing on that, then as you start getting more people responding to your content and having a good experience with it, and you can see that reflected through the average view counts that you're getting on your videos, how those keep increasing, then at that moment in time, that is where you start thinking to yourself, okay, I've got regular viewers coming in. I'm getting, you know, X amount of views per video, which is awesome. Now, if I want to, you know, try to increase the rate that people are subscribing to my YouTube channel, now let me start practicing or playing with or experimenting with some, you know, different calls to action and asking people to subscribe in like, you know, different places in my videos to see where people, you know, respond the most and those sorts of things. But first, focus on the viewer, creating great content for them. And then as you do that, then everything else will start to happen. And then that's where you start, you know, trying to fine tune things to increase the rate that those things are happening. Let's see here. So as we keep on going here, we have, man, those things are just popping in here like crazy. This is another problem with YouTube right now, is like, for example, right? Like this channel name right here that the mods just took down. You guys probably, yeah, it's still floating here. So these channel names, even though the mods take it down, those channel names are still there. Like YouTube, as soon as a mod deletes a message, maybe I'm just seeing it, I don't know if everybody else is, but as soon as a mod deletes a message or they hide, they hide the channel or whatever, as soon as that happens, it should just disappear, right? It should disappear instead of just leaving it in the chat right there. The same exact thing goes with the actual like text that's used in here, because this is a bot. This isn't a person coming in here doing these things. This is a bot. So that phrase, they could take that phrase, they could put it into a thing just like they do in their, just like they do in the blocked words list, and they could stop those channel names from even being allowed on YouTube, but they don't. Yeah, that's the second problem that we have. Yeah, Renee's in here. He's like, yeah, I'm reporting them all. Yeah, like that's another thing. So like, this is great with you hanging out in here, right? Because you can like relay all this. So like, yeah, man, like that thing where these bots are hitting these live streams. I was in a music live stream yesterday, and these things were just running rampant in there, and they didn't have moderators. So this stuff was just polluting, and it was just like, you know, bot after bot after bot was in there just hammering this live stream, and it had like thousands of people in it. Like this sort of thing can be handled so easy by just taking what they already do in the blocked words list and applying it to channel names. These terms are not allowed as channel names. So easy. And I'm not even a coder. To me, it's easy, but the devs at YouTube are probably like, oh my God, it's like the hardest thing ever. So let's see here. So Renee says that they're working on it, but it's a far greater complexity with channel names than content because names are universal, comments are atomic. Okay. I'm not sure what that means. On the name's universal, but a comment is atomic. Also, the name spreads across the platform, but a comment is isolated to the channel, I think is what that means. Yeah, so, but even in that regard, like words, right? Like the word that is at the very beginning of theirs. Let's see here. They do, yeah, that very first word on theirs, like that word shouldn't be allowed as a channel name. Adult should be a name. But like adult and then the word that comes after that, those two words back to back should not be allowed as a channel name. Dot, whatever, that could be filtered out. Yeah, like that sort of thing is definitely a thing they should put into play ASAP. Working on it every day. Fantastic. Love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, so next up we got Plant Obsessed. Plant Obsessed says that they upload to YouTube 1 time per week or more. The type of channel is vermiculture, and the goal of the channel is to teach people how to use worm farming to keep garbage out of the landfill. Oh, nice. That's cool. The question is, thanks for all you do. I love your channel. Thanks for the kind words. I appreciate it. Can you speak to how people watching videos at 1.5 to 2 times speed affects the video analytics? Does it change the percentage viewed or length of view? Does it hurt the channel? So if somebody watches half of your video, regardless of the speed, you'll still get 50% retention. However, the watch time that you're getting from that, if they watch it at double the speed, then you're going to get half of the watch time. So a way to think about it is the amount of time that they spend on the page, right? So if they're watching it at half the speed, they're going to spend half the time on that page compared to if they're watching it at regular speed. So therefore you get credited for like half of the amount of watch time because they're only watching it for half of the time, so to speak. Let's see here. Next up on our list here, we've got Restaurant and Kitchen Info is the type of channel here, and the channel is the 86th Street Project. And the goal of the channel is to help new line cooks that take up management roles or people new to the industry, to the restaurant industry. The question is, I've been working hard towards getting everything set up for future monetization, Spreadshop, for example. I'm at 350 subscribers and growing steadily. My question is, when do brands start to actually notice you, or when is it a good time to start reaching out to brands? Do brands even pay attention to you if you have less than 10,000 subscribers? Any info at all about the brand process would be helpful. So first off, when it comes to the size of your YouTube channel, it does matter to an extent. However, when it comes to brands noticing you, some brands will find you through like YouTube search and that sort of thing. But the best thing that you can do as a content creator is to write down a list of all the companies that you want to work with. When you write down that list of companies that you want to work with, start doing outreach for them. So what that means is start reaching out to them, let them know, hey, I've got a YouTube channel. I'm just getting started. So, you probably don't work with channels of this size, at this moment in time, but I just want to let you know I'm here. So as my channel grows, and all of that, I'm here in the event that you do any type of influencer marketing campaigns or anything like that. Just, keep me on your list. And then by doing that, you're just letting them know, hey, I'm out here. My channel exists. So if you do, need me for something, I'm here. And by putting yourself out there like that with all the different companies over time, as people, are doing influencer marketing campaigns and things like that, some of those people will reach out for you. And when they do reach out to you, one of the things that they will look for is they'll look for engagement. So one of the things that content creators often think is they think that they have to have huge subscriber counts in order to get brand deals. But what they actually need is an engaged audience. So even though you might not get as much because, maybe your view counts aren't as high, or maybe you don't have as many people engaging at a high rate, even though that can happen, at the end of the day, what the brands are looking for is, how engaged is this community here? And the reason they look for that is because the whole point of influencer marketing is that they are leveraging the creator who already has trust with the audience to bring attention to their brand. So it's a way of adding trust to a brand that people might not, already be familiar with. So when they are doing that, in a lot of cases, a lot of companies, especially if they don't have big budgets, they will actually intentionally go after smaller content creators. So it's called a micro influencer in that case. So they go after smaller content creators because they know, one, that they can get a lower fee, right? So they can get in front of more, or they can basically work with more content creators for a lower price. But when a channel's smaller, here's how I'll say this. When you're first getting started on YouTube, it's really easy to interact with every comment, to follow up with all of your comments, to talk with everybody, to know everybody's names, all of those things. As your channel gets bigger, then things start getting cloudy. And then as it starts getting a lot bigger and you start having a lot of people interact, especially over time, then it starts getting just confusing. And it's really hard to keep track of things and keep track of names and, all of those sorts of things. And what happens is, you do still have that engaged community, but in some cases, you just might not be as close as you are when you have a smaller channel. So there's a period of time when when you have a YouTube channel. And in some cases, some people are talented enough, or they are good enough, I should say, to where they can, carry this along. Like, for example, if you look at Harris Heller, he's really good at this. His community building skills are off the charts, and not just by like growing, but by growing and keeping people engaged. He's really good at that. So basically, when you have a really engaged audience like that, then it makes you extremely valuable to brands because, because you have all that trust. You have those people that keep coming back and they keep interacting with what it is that you're doing. And one of the things that brands look for is that, right? That level of engagement. But if you're a smaller channel, but you have a really engaged audience, then that's enough for a brand. So for example, like on this channel, like we had a period of time to where, like as we were, progressing through things, to where like I could name most of the people that were hanging out in the chat, things like that. And now it's at a place to where I'll recognize, people as they come in, and then like I start, noticing people, and then I'll know people by their channel names and things like that. Every now and then, like a certain channel name will stand out, and it might be their first time in the chat, but because the name is clever, it'll just stand out for whatever reason. And then there'll be people that, that you'll, just like notice more than other people, so to speak, for lack of a better way to say it. And, because of that, it kind of dilutes that connection, a little bit. So it's just a really hard thing to maintain. But what I'm trying to express here is, as a smaller YouTube channel, because you do have that deeper connection with the people that are interacting with your content at scale, with the majority of the people that are interacting with your content, it makes you extremely valuable to the people that, to the companies that are working with micro influencers. All right, next up. So we've got, we got the Christian Hardscaper. The Christian Hardscaper says that they do landscape construction and how-to and vlogs, and the goal of the channel is to share my work and teach others how to install patios, walkways, and walls. And the question is, hey Nick, I hope all's well. I hope all's well with you as well. All's good here. The question is, the time that I have had to make and upload videos lately has been very little. I'm only uploading one video per week for the past couple of months. My analytics reflect this for sure. I have plenty of content on memory cards and hard drives, just no time to put it together. I own my own business, so the work, life, and YouTube balance has not been the greatest. In your opinion, what's a perfectly balanced upload schedule? I know perfect is not always possible. Uploading once a week is perfectly fine. However, if you want to ramp it up, or if you want to, maybe get some help with making better videos and stuff like that. If you make the content, focus on running your business, make your content, and look at YouTube. If your content is something that is going to be, supportive to your business, then what you can do, because you're showing people how to do it, and by showing people how to do it, you will end up over time generating like leads and sales and being able to do a bunch of additional things with that too. But basically, when you are recording the content, it doesn't mean that you have to be the one editing it and put it all together. There's services out there. You can go to vidcharge.com. We do it over there. You can go to, let's see here, VidChops. They do it. You can find people like on onlinejobs.ph. You can find people on upwork.com. All of these places, they have people that will, that you can pay to edit your videos. So in your case, since you're running it as a business, you could make this a business expense of sorts and have your YouTube channel to where it is, because you're doing landscape construction, and then your channel is teaching people how to install patios, walkways, and walls. So what you can do is you can have this as a business expense and just hand it off and just have somebody else edit your content for you. And then you don't even have to worry about that side of things. You can just focus on making the content, having, some of your crew help you make the content while you're doing all your different jobs. And you can just be pipelining content to, to your editor, and then having that person put your videos together, and then you can, be publishing them to the channel. And then by doing that, you're going to reserve a ton of your time so you can focus on growing your business and making the content. And then you can have, somebody else actually putting the videos together. Let's see here. So Renee says, fun test, try 1, 2, 3, 4 videos a week, then go into advanced analytics, do videos per week versus average views per viewer, see where the demand saturation point is, watching more versus choosing between. Good call, good call, good call. Pro tips right there. Next up, we've got Max the Rocket Guy. And Max the Rocket Guy says that they do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to make viewers happy. And the question is, why the amount of views that I get on a video is unstable? Once I get 900 views in a day, but got 20 the other day, and how to get more comments on videos. So views are unstable because YouTube is just showing your content to people around the platform, and then you're getting views coming in based on how they respond to it. But in addition to that, you got to remember, YouTube has an inventory, a huge inventory of content that they are putting in front of people. With that, they typically prioritize new content as they're testing it, but then, they will continue to show older content that performs as well. So because of that, they can, they might give you, more impressions on one day than another day based on just, the current content that's being put out and all that. It's a humongous ecosystem, and because of that, things are always up and down. There's definitely just a general seasonality to YouTube in general. So because of that, just make sure that you keep that in mind when it comes to your videos and video performance in general, just being inconsistent. Damon Varial is the next person here on the list, and the type of channel, it just says two subjects. And the question is, hey, Nick, I also live in Asia, so good evening. Good evening. Says, my question is a bit convoluted, so if you think it won't help other listeners, feel free to skip it. In short, I'm a stock trader by trade, but my hobby is true crime. My stock trading channel had 6,000 subscribers a few months ago. I recently started making true crime documentaries for fun, and now I have almost 40,000 subscribers as a result. The problem is that my stock-related sponsors will not sponsor my crime-related documentaries, only my stock-related videos. I want to transition into doing crime documentaries primarily, and that is my passion, but if I do so, I won't have any of my current sponsors. My question is, what's a good way to convince my sponsors, such as stock brokerages, that I can expose them to a new audience of potential customers? Are there specific metrics in the analytics tab that sponsors like to see? I ask this because I have many unrelated sponsors on certain videos. Okay, such as Raid Shadow Legends on non-gaming videos and HelloFresh on non-food related videos. Or should I just give up and find sponsors of my crime videos? But who would sponsor a crime documentary video, and how would I reach out to them? I'm so lost on this aspect of my channel. Thanks in advance. So one of the things when it comes to sponsorships is also thinking about the audience that you are getting in front of. So for example, even though your true crime content, and I'm speaking to this from the perspective of somebody that would be advertising, on a video. So when it comes to the stock trading people, the reason that they want to advertise on your stock trading content is because those people are a perfect fit for their campaign. Whereas on your true crime content, even though it's going to get their message in front of more new people that might not even know about stocks. The downside of that is that they're getting in front of people that might not even know about stocks or stock trading. So because of that, the amount of views that you're going to need on that true crime content in order to have a similar conversion of people that are already, primed for their campaigns, is going to be substantially higher. So that's, most likely the reason that they don't want to go in that direction. Now, when it comes to gaming content, like, Raid Shadow Legends, in their case, gamers watch everything, right? Where, people in stocks, that trade stocks, they also watch everything, but there's a difference in the type of person that consumes stock related content. That person is going to be a much different type of person than somebody that just happens to watch true crime content that also does stocks, right? Because the person that's watching the stock trading content, they're a much more committed person, they're much more involved, all of that, which means that they're probably also going to be likely to use tools and services and things like that to help them out. Whereas the person that you might be introducing to it, they might not be as likely, because, maybe you're just introducing, the whole idea of, trading stocks to them in the first place. So when it comes to, that sort of thing, that's why you have trouble, getting those people to cross over. Now, of course, if it is something general like food, in that case, everybody eats. So, like the gaming example and the food example that you gave, if you put that in front of anything, then it's still most likely going to reach a decent amount of people that are going to be, interested in that. But in some of those cases also, they also have the budgets that they can put in front of people, and they understand their conversions of, when we advertise on this type of content, then we typically convert like this. When we advertise on this type of content, we typically convert like this, and so on. So because of that, oh, hey, I'll get that right now, Doug, thanks. But so because of that, it's a difficult ask for the company when you say, hey, we're doing awesome over here, but now I want you to sponsor this content over here that's completely unrelated to anything that you do. So, so I understand it from their perspective there. So what I would do in that case is I would just try to, I would keep your stock trading stuff going so you can keep, the sponsors over there, but then I would do your True Crime channel and I would try to find sponsors for that. And I would just lean more into the general sponsors, like you're already working with, like Raid Shadow Legends and HelloFresh as an example, and try to get them into maybe longer term contracts to where you have, longer or deeper relationships with them. So I have a super chat here that I missed, and I apologize massively for the delay on this one. It looks like you dropped this one. Let's see here, from Jason Stallsworth. So that's a pretty high one here. Let me look for that one. Okay, sorry about this, Jason. That was a while back here.
Super chat.
So let's see here. So thanks for the super chat first. It says, thank you for all the content. I'm not sure if you'll have time, but I just submitted a question regarding expanding my channel versus starting a new one for a specific type of content, still music related, but different. Jason, if you could put that, if you could just put your question here, because I'm not sure where exactly it is in the form. So if you could just put it here, then I can just go ahead and answer it here. I can just go ahead and answer it here for you instead of waiting to get into the form, because depending on when you put it in, we may or may not get to it based on the amount of responses that we have in there right now. And while I'm in here, while I'm waiting for him to drop that, I'm going to answer two more that came in here as well. So Steve Oatley, apologize for the delay on yours as well, asked, what model cameras am I using in my studio? So this camera, let me turn off the switcher just so you can see quality differences and stuff. So this right here is a Sony a6500 with a Sigma 16 millimeter 1.4 lens on it. That's what this one is. This one here is another Sony a6500 with the same exact lens, the Sigma 1.4 16 millimeter. This one here is another Sony a6500, but the lens that I have on this one, because it's just a little bit further back than this one right here, but it's pretty much on top of it. This one right here has a 35 millimeter lens on it, and I think this one is a 1.8, I believe, on the aperture for this one, and this one here is a Canon 90D. Now with this Canon 90D, the lens that I have on this is I have no idea. I think this is a like 10 to 18 millimeter, I believe, but I'm not sure what the aperture is on this one. But but that one's a 10 to 18 on the lens, but it's a Canon 90D. And do I have? Yeah, this one right here is a Sony ZV-1 with a built-in lens, because it's just like a little pocket camera. And then this one right here for like the for the gear shot is a GoPro. Let's see here. So waiting for Jason's question to come in there. And then the next question that we have here is from Boogie Woogie Blues and Classical Piano. It says, hey Nick, thanks for these amazing streams. My pleasure. Glad that you are enjoying them, and thank you for the super chat there as well. Okay, so Jason says, my channel's been based on metal guitar, almost 50,000 subscribers, but I've recently started making tips for playing live solo acoustic gigs. Okay, so with your question, if that's what your channel's based on, are you asking if, let me go back up to your question here. Okay, so if you've built an audience of metal guitar players, should I start a new channel for that? My concern was that all metal folks would like this, although my YouTube poll says over 50% wanted it. So here's what I recommend you do. Publish a video on the acoustic guitar, see how people respond to it. If they respond well, publish another, see how they respond to that one. Just make sure that it's consistent. If they consistently respond, then you can just change it to a guitar channel, into an electric guitar channel. It'll dilute it just a tad, but you'll still be getting in front of people that play guitar. Over time, you'll build up an archive of acoustic content as well as the metal content that you already have. And then that way, as people, see the different things that you're sharing, then, you'll be able to pull people in easily with that one. So because of that, I would just experiment with it first. Make sure that the response matches the response to the poll, because just because somebody said that in a poll doesn't mean that they'll actually respond, when it's just presented to them on a homepage. So because of that, test it on, a few videos, see how people respond to it. And if they don't respond well, then in that case, start a new channel for it. Keep this one isolated as the electric guitar channel, then do another one as an acoustic resource. And then one of the things that you can do there is you can use your main channel as a bridge, as a filter of sorts for the acoustic channel. The way that you do that is in all of your videos that you publish once you create that channel, if you even need to, is let people know that, hey, hey, by the way, we cover metal here, but if you also play acoustic guitar, I've got another channel for that. I put a link to it down in the description. And then that way they know that they can go and get some awesome acoustic guitar tips from you as well. I'm actually opening up your channel right now, and I'm going to subscribe because I'm actually watching this type of content right now also. So, Driver Sensei.
Welcome to the Nimminati.
Welcome to the Nimminati. Make sure when you get the chance, you go to, let me find the right thing here, go to nimminvip.com. It's right here on the screen right now. Go into that. That's going to redirect you to the members only Facebook group. Fill out all the information on the way in, because that's how I verify that you are a member. If you can do that before the stream is over today, then I can let you in there as soon as the stream is complete. Let's see here. So next up, we've got the next question here is transforming Transformer toys. That's cool. The type of channel is toys, Transformers, and third-party robots. The goal is to make money and share my hobby collection. The question is, most of my viewers are in their 20s and 40s. Since it's toys, should I make out channel videos for kids? What are the positive and negative effects of doing that? If your viewers are in their 20s and 40s, that's okay. Like if you are into the hobby and they are into the hobby, then, there's nothing wrong with having, a majority of your audience in their 20s and 40s. However, if you're wanting to make the content for kids, you can do that, but just keep in mind that when you do make content for kids, it does come with restrictions. So, comments, things like that. Some of the different, tracking things that they do are different. So you do create some hurdles for yourself if you start making content for kids. So that one's, totally your call. But there's nothing wrong, just a quick note, of having an audience of 20 to 40-year-olds. Next up, we've got Melinda Maynard, Life on Canvas. Melinda says that she's been on YouTube for less than a year. She has an art channel. The goal of the channel is to promote and share my art, to build up my channel. So when I start canvassing around Australia, I'll be able to promote Australia. And the question is, who do I contact if YouTube takes down my channel? Is there a way to get back all your artwork, which was scheduled for the year in advance, back? Because I've lost a year's work, as it did happen in advance. Is there another way to check copyright other than YouTube Music, as my art is still my own check? How do I drive more people to my channel? Okay, so in terms of if YouTube takes down your channel, so if you have experienced this, then they have taken down your channel for, some reason. And there's, most likely it's going to be, you've gotten 3 strikes somewhere. Those 3 strikes could be community guideline strikes, or they could be copyright strikes. But either way it goes, if you got your channel taken down, then, there's probably reason for that. And if they took it down, there's a good chance that you're probably not going to get it back. However, sometimes mistakes are made, sometimes fraudulent claims are made, that sort of thing. So because of that, if you do find that you have been wronged in some way and that it wasn't a legitimate, takedown, so to speak, in terms of those strikes that you got were not actually legitimate, then in that particular case, then the first place that I would go to is inside of every YouTube channel. There's a little support option down in the bottom left-hand corner. I would try that from a different channel because they've obviously taken down the one. But technically, you're not even supposed to have additional YouTube channels if they take it down, but you got to do something in order to be able to contact them. 2, hop on Team YouTube if you feel that you were, wrong, or if they were wrong in the situation. Hop on Twitter and then at Team YouTube, let them know what's going on. They'll send you to some help documentation. In other cases, they might, directly say, hey, DM us and, give us more information, whatever. Also, if you go to Google and you type in YouTube community forums, then you're going to see a website pop up. And within that website, you're going to have the option to where you can make a post and you can let people know exactly, what happened to you and basically just kind of plead your case case there. Do it respectfully, do it professionally. And by doing that, then what you're doing is you're putting that information in front of people that might be able to help you at YouTube. And I would say to go to Reddit and do it there, but because of, the limitations that they put on, their volunteers, that isn't as effective anymore. But right now, just go to like the YouTube help pages or the YouTube community forums, post there, tweet it at Team YouTube. Those are kind of the best chances that you have right now. Let's see here. Next up. Oh, and YouTube support from inside of a YouTube channel. Yacht Waypoints says that they are getting ready to start their channel. They do informational hints and tips. And the goal of the channel is to bring good information to sailors and drive the traffic to my webpage. And the question is, what is the amount of videos that you would suggest to start with a new channel? Someone suggested that I start with 4 videos so that one can link to another. Does it really matter, or just do once a week and start all 4 at one time? So some people will say to start a YouTube channel with 5 videos. Some people say 4 videos. Some people say just start uploading. So when it comes to like launching a YouTube channel, of course, if you have other content on there that they can watch, it can be a short, it can be a long form video, whatever, then you do give yourself that opportunity to where if somebody clicks on a video, they watch that video to the end, then you have something there for them if they want to watch more, which then tells YouTube that, hey, these very first videos, people are watching multiple videos and all of that. If you start with at least more than one. The reason that people say to start with, like 4 or 5 is because then you have a lot more videos to where somebody really enjoys that content that they can watch more. However, if you're like, I'm brand new to all this, like I'm just trying to like learn how to do this, and like this is my first attempt at having a YouTube channel and all that, in that case, just get started. Of course, you can start with multiple videos if you want to, but it's more important that you just get started with, uploading content, because there's a lot to learn when it comes to YouTube. A lot of skills that need developed. You might come in slamming, like you might come in like, hey, I already know all the stuff. And then in that case, if you do already know the stuff, you think that right out of the gate, you're going to, you have a really good chance of getting a lot of views right from your very first publish. Then in that case, that's where it's like, hey, maybe I should start with, more than one video. But again, getting started is the most important thing, because over time is where the channel is going to develop, not necessarily, at the time of publishing that first video. Let's see here. Next up on the list, we've got Ghost Slayer. Ghost Slayer says they upload when they have time. They do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to be successful and make a great opportunity and get to know good people making money on YouTube, but community comes first and money second. Question: how can I be successful on YouTube to make good or at least decent content, and how can I improve in many areas? Learning the skill sets. So basically when it comes to YouTube, you have to learn how to make effective thumbnails. And by effective, I don't mean graphically pretty. I mean effective for the audience that you're trying to reach by helping them, recognize that your content might be something that they're interested in. In some cases, that comes down to taking a really good photo. In other cases, that comes down to having like an amateurish photo that people respond to, but it just still conveys that information. In other cases, that means making something graphically intense. So you have to, learn what it is that, your audience responds to, and learn how to do that very well. In addition to that, you also have to learn how to compel people to click on something through writing. So what that means is essentially writing titles that would be compelling to people. For example, how to make a pizza. We all know that's compelling because, people love pizza. However, if you do how to make a pizza without an oven, all of a sudden it's more compelling, because then there's unique value there to where people that have thought their entire lives, like, hey, I need an oven to make a pizza. Now they have their world unraveled by having this piece of content in front of them. Like, oh my gosh, I can make a pizza in a skillet. Are you kidding me? And then they click on that because now they just found out that they can make pizza without an oven, right? So then it becomes a little bit more compelling. How to make pizza in an oven, or how to make pizza without an oven, how to make a low-calorie pizza without an oven. Then right there, you just have another layer of it being either, complicated in that case, or just being more compelling, because then in that case, it's like, oh, wow, not only can I not make it in an oven, but it's also low calorie. And, by all means, I want to eat a lot of pizza. So if it's a little bit lower calorie, then that's a massive solid, right, for me. So I'm clicking on that one. But the idea is learning how to do those things, right? To where instead of, how to make a pizza without an oven, how to make a pizza without an oven in under, 15 minutes, or, whatever the thing is. But the idea is just learning that side of it, of how to make it compelling. I want pizza now too. Yeah. Is it too late? Yeah, it is too late to order Pizza Company right now. Or I might order it and just like hang out here on stream and eat pizza with you guys. Like, hey, why not? Right. But anyway, in terms of the skill sets, you have to learn that. You have to learn the process of making videos. You have to learn how to get the videos to a competitive level for YouTube. And that can mean a bunch of different things. So depending on the type of content that you're making, that means that you might need to learn how to react in a way that others find compelling or that they find interesting or funny. That means that you might have to learn how to be entertaining. That means you might have to learn how to work on your comedy to get jokes in there. That means that you might have to learn how to structure your content in a way that, will keep people from getting bored when they're watching it, those types of things. But it's all just it's a process that you have to learn. So when you're wanting to be successful on YouTube and make good or at least decent content, you have to develop the skills in order to do that. So make sure you're watching videos and just getting information on all of the things that I just listed and applying them to your channel. Transforming Transformer, my pleasure. Glad you are enjoying the stream today. Hope that that was good information for you. Blue Boost says they do daily content. It's also gaming content. The goal is to make a sustainable income, at least $100 per month. And the question is it a good idea to make highlights of videos and put them on other platforms such as TikTok, Instagram, in hopes of promoting the content and getting new viewers? Yes, but if you are trying to get at least $100 a month, I recommend you think about it in a different way. So right now, the way that you're currently thinking about it is I have a YouTube channel that I'm going to monetize and I need to get it to $100 a month. Therefore, I'm going to use Instagram and I'm going to use TikTok as a means to drive people over to my YouTube channel so I can make that $100 a month. One thing to remember is you're a content creator. So that means that you can make some of your money on YouTube, you can make some of your money on TikTok and some of your money on Instagram. Yes, you can build those bridges to try to connect people. You can use like the TubeSpanner social bio pages for that. That's actually a free thing that every TubeSpanner user gets. So you can find out more about that at tubespanner.com. But basically you use a social bio page, and with that page, all you do is you put a link in your bio on like Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok. And technically you can put it in your channel art on your About Me page on your YouTube channel as well, if you want to send traffic in both directions. But basically in all your videos, you let people know, hey, I've got, a link in bio for, more, to find all my content or whatever. And you drive people to that, then they can find you there. But the thing that you got to think about here is that you can try to send people off of those platforms, which ultimately will end up hurting your performance there, in order to get them watching your videos on YouTube. Which that's a hard transition to make. You can do it, absolutely, but it's just like if I'm on TikTok, I'm on TikTok because I want to be on TikTok, right? If I'm on YouTube, I'm on YouTube because I want to be on YouTube. So trying to get people to leave, it's a big ask for people. People do it, but it's a big ask. So because of that, drive people to that bio, but make good content. Like take those clips and try to make them as good as you can so that you can perform well on those other platforms as well. And then you can grow your following on TikTok. You can grow your following on Instagram. You can grow your following on YouTube. You can get monetized on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram, and then you can be making money from all of those. And here's something to think about. Right now, when it comes to monetization on YouTube, they've got, the Shorts Fund, that you can tap into. Once you're in the partner program, actually you don't even have to be in the partner program for that. And then you have, the actual partner program. To get in the partner program, you have, these qualifications that you have to go through in order to get into the Shorts Fund. You also have to qualify for that as well. So on these other platforms, you'll also have to qualify for monetization there. But the idea I'm trying to express is when you are putting your content out on all of these places, if you have the time to do that, if you're putting content out on all these places, instead of thinking like, I got to drive back to YouTube, especially if you're trying to get to a sustainable $100 a month, try to think of it from the perspective of, okay, if I'm going to be clipping these out anyway and putting them on these other platforms, why don't I just try to leverage these other platforms and try to make money on these other platforms too? So instead of just focusing all of my eggs into the YouTube basket, I can have a YouTube basket, an Instagram basket, and a TikTok basket that I'm bringing income from. And then not only is that going to help you get money faster, but that's also going to help you as your influence grows and as you start getting a bigger following, because then you're going to have followers on all of these platforms. You're going to have sponsors reaching out to you on YouTube. You're going to be able to let them know that you also have these other properties that they can, that they can work with you on, which means that you're going to get more money from your brand deals. You're going to have people reaching out to you on TikTok for brand deals there. You can let them know that you have Instagram and YouTube available, so you'll get more money from them. You'll have people reaching out to you on Instagram, and you're going to be able to let them know that you have TikTok and YouTube available, and you're going to be able to get more money from them there. So by taking that approach, what you're doing is you're making it easier to make that $100 a month sustainably. And you're also giving yourself a much bigger opportunity potential by putting yourself on those other platforms as well. So a couple things to think about is when you're doing that on YouTube and Instagram, you can do it through the short form vertical content. And by doing that, you don't have to learn how to get people to click there. You just have to make good content. So by doing that, you're also removing one of the hurdles that you have here on YouTube with long form content. Now you can also use that in the YouTube shorts as well. And if you qualify for the shorts fund, then you can get some money there. But in the future, they are going to be, I know later this year, they're going to be testing super thanks in YouTube shorts as well. So people will be able to monetize that way, but we need ads in YouTube shorts is what we really need. But what I'm trying to express here is if you really want to, hit that goal, then I would actually, I would use all of the platforms to try to help you meet that goal, and you'll hit it faster. And then you can just build from there. Let's see here. Jason Stallworth. Hey man, I did get to your question. So I'm just going to skip it because we already talked about it. So I'm going to just go ahead and skip it. But I did get to it. Next up, we've got, let's see here. A+ Russian says, you asked, so doing 1 2-minute reply to a question, counter 8, counter 5. Disclaimer, none of it bothered me at all. It was flowing and smooth. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And that's horrible. For in 2 minutes, 5 ums and 8 knows. Ooh, rough right there. Okay, so as we keep going, we've got this one, Truth 007. They do educational content. The question is, do you need to have other social media platforms when starting a YouTube channel? Should you upload more than one video in the beginning in order to have a link in the end screen? So we covered the more than one video question not too long ago. And for other social media platforms, do you need them when starting a YouTube channel? You don't need them. But when you do have them, it helps you to be able to connect with the people that are into your content in some of those other platforms as well. For example, if you have a Twitter account, then as your YouTube channel grows, then some people will follow you over on Twitter. They're most engaged people. And when they follow you over on Twitter, then if you have a new video you publish, you can let them know. If you have additional ideas, additional things you're trying to express, if you have feedback you're wanting, then you can get it from them. None of it's necessary, but it's helpful to have those other outlets to where you can connect with people that are into your content as your influence grows. The Creator Classroom says, are we taking a drink of water every or Yeah, if anybody here is in like university, then you could turn that into a game of sorts, I guess. Totally. So next up, we got John Dimitri says they do guitar lessons. The goal of the channel is to share guitar lessons for songs that don't have them. The goal or the question is, a friend gave me some help figuring out part of a song, and I gave him a shout out in the video and provided a link to his business Facebook page in the description. Do I need to check my video contains paid promotion, like an endorsement? They helped you figure out a part of the song. They did not do that for the purpose of you putting a link in the description to them. So because of that, if it was me, I wouldn't mark it as a sponsored piece of content, because from my view, that's not a sponsored piece of content. If YouTube would agree with me or not, I'm not sure. But for me, I wouldn't mark that as a piece of sponsored content because you gave him a shout out and you put a link to his business. I do that a lot. Like I promote, like, all my friends that have, their books and those things, I promote everybody heavily. And as long as they're not giving me anything in return, I can do that without any problems, without having to mark it as sponsored content or anything like that. Driver Sensei, thanks for the super chat. Says, hey, Nick and everyone's. Serious question, not. I want to start a channel called Shiny Bald Head Scalp Conditioning Massages, yet I have some hair. Can you co-host? All in fun, people, not bully. Yeah, totally, all day. We can do that. And beforehand, I can put conditioner on my head, and to where it's just like covered in white conditioner for every episode. Also joking. So next up, we've got Game Life 44. Game Life 44 says they do gaming content. The goal of the channel is to build a successful monetized gaming channel. The question, creating 4 months, 30 videos, 46 subscribers. Are gaming channels more slow growth compared to non-gaming? No, I wouldn't say that gaming channels are slower, but I can say that different channels grow at different rates regardless of the niche. So for example, if there's a new YouTube help channel, which there's always new ones starting. So if there's a new YouTube help channel, 2 of them that just started, then one of them will grow faster than the other one. If there's a new gaming channel, 2 different gaming channels start right now, one of them is going to grow faster than the other one. 2 different guitar channels, since Jason's here in the chat right now talking about guitar, stuff. If there's 2 different guitar channels, then both of them are going to grow at different paces. If there's 2 different channels teaching people about Canva, they're going to grow at different paces. 2 different basketball channels, they're going to grow at different paces. So it's just part of the thing. Like, different channels always grow at different rates, not just based on the niche itself, but just based on the creators, the content decisions they make, how good they are at getting people to respond from the outside of the content, how good they are at getting people to, enjoy the content once they put it together, all of those things. Upload schedules, upload cadence. Michaela Bacaneri, I hope I'm saying that correctly. I apologize if not. Says that the type of channel is marketing tips for health and wellness professionals. Nice. The goal of the channel is to help drive traffic to my courses and live workshops. The question is, one of my videos, which answers a very specific, frequently asked question about how to cancel a therapy directory subscription, has nearly 10 times the views of any of my other videos. How can I use this data to inform my content strategy? Thank you. So when you have one video that outperforms the other, then that lets you know that that's what people are wanting from you. In terms of using that data to inform your content strategy, then if you prove through testing, by uploading a similar video in terms of similar value that they're getting from this one, if you can prove that people consistently respond to this type of content, then what you would want to do is, as you're putting your content strategy together, let's say that you're planning out the next 90 days or the next 6 months, then what you can do is you can say, okay, I know these perform well on my channel because every time that I publish content like this, it typically does better than the other content. So because of that, I need to make sure that I'm publishing this type of content with some type of cadence attached to it. So for example, on my content, I know when I publish a video on, how new YouTubers can get views on XYZ, I know that that content performs well. So because of that, over a 90-day period, I'm like, okay, I know I have to make a certain amount of those for the sake of, one, tapping into, the new YouTubers that have come over onto the platform during those times and pull them in and introduce them to me. So because of that, I know that those typically go into more newer audiences instead of, people that are already involved in the channel, they watch those too, but those typically will get more new viewers than they will, returning. So it just pushes me into, new people in those particular situations. So I know that I have to make those as part of my regular content. So you use that information to help identify the content that people respond to, so you can make sure that you're putting in things that are complementary or things that are similar that people also respond to on a regular basis. So really quick, I need to step away for about 30 seconds. And in the meantime, I'm going to give you a music video to watch. This is Brian G. Johnson, who was in the chat earlier, and myself doing a diss track to Daniel Battelle, who also did a diss track for Brian G. Johnson. This is all in good fun. We're all friends and all that, but I'm going to let you watch that while I step away for about 30 seconds. All this coffee's got to go somewhere.
Check, 1, 2. I'm B to the G, it's easy to see what you need, it's attention from me. I'll give you the shout, get back on the grind and you'll be down for the count, trying to breathe. Your favorite is me, now you hate with the diss. All of that hair hanging there like a chick, man, give me a break. You're standing too close to the camera like Nick. Where is the claim that you say Filmora is hate? Call me a thief with the titles you hate. I taught you the rank, you seem to forget it. I hit it and quit it, and you try to walk in my wake. I'm tossing you weight, giving you shine, giving you clout by doing this with my time. And what I'm about, why I'm your guide. You come from my comfort, but now you're denied. You wanna throw shade. It's too late, I already got it made. You wanna bring hate. Hit the road, hater, cause I'm not phased.
If you're messing with G, you're messing with me. The name is Nimmin, I'll bend in a knee. Disturbing the peace, I'll come back into battle and murder a beat. I heard you eat worms like a bird, like a tree. Just like these words of defeat, I think Feeny should draw you and make you a T. They're waiting on me, who's waiting on you? If it wasn't for Johnson, you wouldn't have views or a clue. You wouldn't know what to do. The only extremes I see is your food. This is just weak, yes, I mean to be rude. Change if you see.
All right, so we are back. So let's see here. So next up on our list here, we have fun video, right? I like coming in and just saying like we're back, like pretending that you didn't just watch that. So we got the Crafty Puerto Rican. Says that they have been on YouTube for less than a year. They do crafting content. The goal of the channel is to share their craft and get monetized. The question is, followers are requesting videos in Spanish. Should I add content or create a new channel? Definitely add that to a new channel. Do not mix English and Spanish content on the same channel. Next up, we've got Naked Truth by Dr. Melanie. Naked Truth by Dr. Melanie says that they upload when they have time. They do natural health and beauty, anti-aging content. The goal of the channel is to educate, inspire people to take control of their health by using natural strategies and their own potential. Also to earn full-time income while traveling and retire from practice. Question, is it okay to create tutorials in YouTube Shorts to draw in viewers, identify the high performing ones, and then later embed parts of those into longer form videos, or reverse direction if that's okay? Technically, you can do that. Yeah, you can use the Shorts to figure out, what people respond to in the Shorts shelf, but keep in mind that if somebody's in YouTube Shorts, they're expecting a different experience than if they're watching long form content. So because of that, just because it translates well in YouTube Shorts doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to translate well in longer form content if you were to insert that in there. However, it's definitely something worth experimenting with. So one thing for everybody here, like if you have ideas like this, because this is clever. If you have ideas like this, always be open to experimentation. When you have these types of things, because this is a really good idea in terms of like, hey, if I have a short and it does well, then how could I use that in my longer form content? That's a really great question. And that's a really good experiment to run in terms of just seeing if using some of that maybe for part of the hook or something like that might keep people in there. Definitely something to experiment with. So I think that you should try that. But keep in mind that with YouTube Shorts, those do typically go in front of newer viewers first, or people that haven't been experienced your content before. And when it comes to the longer form content, that will initially go in front of some new viewers, but also people that are already interacting with you in some capacity. So because of that, that expectation is going to be a little bit different too. So just make sure you're considering that when you're running your experiments.
Super Chat.
Dell, thanks for the super chat, says, I haven't started yet, but what are your thoughts on reaction channels? It's hard to find any good videos about growing a reaction channel. If you have any info, that would be useful. So when it comes to reaction channels, just as a heads up, when it comes to different content types, a lot of people will think, like they'll look around for like you looking around for like how to grow a reaction channel. So when it comes to YouTube, the rules are mostly the same across pretty much every type of content. It all comes down to response. The difference is different audiences respond to different things. So that's the difference, right? So for example, like if I were to tell you, hey, make sure that you put text in all of your thumbnails, then I would be misleading you if I didn't put in the disclaimer of, hey, you might want to experiment with not having text in your thumbnails though, because for some types of content that ends up working out better, right? So because of that, when you watch my content or anybody else that does make, helpful content for YouTube or that helps content creators, make sure you are thinking of it from the perspective of all these channels, they share content about what works on YouTube, what YouTube wants from us, about how to make better videos and all of that. So therefore, what aspect of what it is that they're doing can I apply to what it is that I'm doing? So in your particular case, since you are looking for information about growing it, the disconnect is that you're thinking of needing to find information as it relates to a reaction channel instead of thinking of it as, okay, how do you grow a YouTube channel in general? And then how can I apply that information to my reaction channel? So for example, if you're looking for information on how to grow a YouTube channel in general, then you'll probably end up running across information, at least if you're watching my content, about trends and writing trends. So in your case, if just specifically to reaction, if you're going to be reacting to things, it's to your advantage to react to things that are extremely popular at a moment in time. So for example, if you go to trends.google.com, then that's YouTube, or not YouTube, but that's Google, and they'll show you web searches and they'll show you YouTube if you actually start exploring the things that people are looking for, at a high rates, and you'll see interest over time and things like that. But you can go to trends.google.com and you can see what's trending right now, like within the last 4 hours, like you can see what's happening right now. And then when you start reacting to those types of things that are trending, then what you do is you're tapping into something that is already popular. Like people are already interested in it. They're already watching videos about it. They're already looking for information about it. They're already like into it. And YouTube detects that. And when they detect that and then you react to something like that, then what you're doing is you are increasing the amount of people that your content is a good candidate for. So because of that, you want to definitely look into trends around the different things that you're reacting to. So for example, there was a gaming reaction channel in here earlier. For them, what they would do is they would use Google Trends to find games that people are looking for a lot, or games that are, trending right now, games that are having breakouts, for particular, aspects of the games and things like that. And they would be reacting to those types of things based on the proven popularity of that game at this moment in time. Same exact thing goes, like, for example, this isn't necessarily reaction, but it kind of is. So during the whole Johnny Depp thing that went down, there were several YouTube channels that just blew up during that time, because what they were doing is they were making content about that thing that had just that humongous spotlight put on it at that moment in time. And because of that, they were able to capitalize on that moment in time to use it to get a serious boost in viewership on their YouTube channels. Some of them have went on to continue doing, similar types of things, and they just keep thriving, and you can do that same exact thing. So what you want to do is based on the things that you're reacting to. If you're reacting to like certain movies and things like that, instead of reacting to a movie that was made, 30 years ago, you want to react to something that everybody's talking about right now. So then when it shows up on a homepage, then the amount of people that are going to be interested in that at this moment in time, because of the heightened awareness about it, is going to be much higher, which gives you a much greater opportunity to tap into that. So when you are considering your reactions, I definitely would I would look for things that are trending. So the tool that you want to use for that is free. It's provided by Google, but it's called trends.google.com is where you find it. You can find it on your phone or on a computer, but you want to go there and you want to start paying attention to things that are trending. So here's an exercise that you want to do. I actually had to do this for my news segment that I just started on my channel. You can actually catch up on that, to keep you up in the loop of what's going on YouTube. I got it pinned to the top of the chat right now for everybody here. If you're not up to date on what's happening on YouTube, make sure you go and watch that. If not, right now, just do it after the stream. But when I was doing the news thing, one of the things that I had to do is I had to make sure that the content that I was making, that I'd be able to, react to it fast enough, and that there was just enough information coming out that I'd be able to do it consistently. So for that, for 1 month, what I did is every Friday, which is when I do those segments, throughout the week, I would actually keep track of, hey, these are things that, these are articles that I've run across. These are, blog posts that I've ran across. These are videos I've ran across. This is stuff YouTube is putting out, things like that. And I would start loading it into a doc over the course of the week. So that when Friday came, I would say, okay, these are all the different things that I would talk about. Which ones would I prioritize? And let's kind of do a trial run. Okay, so here's the thing. Let's just talk about this out loud to myself while I'm sitting over here in front of my computer. Let me just talk about this out loud to myself, see how I would be saying it, and expressing this information that I have. And then I basically tested that to confirm that I would be able to do it consistently, at least for, a month. And by doing that, it just kind of helped me make sure that I had my resources in order and all of that, and make sure that I would be able to react in time. So in your case, what I recommend that you do, since you're in that process right now, starting the channel, is while you're gathering, information, while you're thinking of your channel name, while you're getting your channel art together, while you're, thinking of exactly how you're going to structure everything and all of that, I recommend that you do something similar and that you hop on Google Trends. You can actually make this, just a heads up. If you are doing any of this on a computer, you can make it to where when your browser opens, that it opens certain windows for you. So depending on what you're reacting to, what you would want to do is you'd want to go ahead, and everybody that tries to stay on top of trends do this also. But you set up your browser so that as soon as, like, for example, when I hit Google Chrome, I have a series of windows that open up automatically every time I open Chrome. So what happens is, out of all of those windows, it helps me stay up to date with everything that's going on, related to YouTube, so I can make sure that I stay informed with updates that are happening and things like that. But now it's even more intense because I'm actually sharing like news about things that YouTube's changing as it relates to content creators. So I recommend you do the same. So take trends.google.com and any of the things that you are going to be reacting to, or the type of content you're going to be reacting to, put that into Google Trends, and then make sure that that's one of those things that one of those windows that opens up, so that when you start your day, you can be like, hey, is this one that I want to react to, or one that I could react to if I was recording content right now? And then if the answer is yes, just do a trial run. You don't have to actually record, but think to yourself, okay, how would I react to this? What would I say? How would I put this together? And start getting that together in your mind, so that when it comes time to start making your video content, if you're not doing it already, then you can do that same exact thing. You open it up, you're like, oh, hey, here's a thing. Let me make a video about that really quick, right? That's the idea. So hopefully that helps. I'm going to check on something here really quick. Hold on. Okay, there we go. All right. So next up on our list here, the next question. Dell says, thank you so much. Using Google Trends is something that completely went over my head. Yeah, my pleasure. That's what I'm here for. So like when, so one thing to think about is when you are, if you are setting up that cascade of windows that open up. So if you're going to be reacting to very specific things, then, based on, certain topics and whatnot, then in that particular case, what I would do is if there's any like industry things that you can tap into, anything like that, like go ahead and get those on that list, so that you can just make sure that you're just like ready. So like, hey, if something pops up around the things that I react to, like I'm going to see it, right? So that I can make sure that I'm, taking that opportunity. But just as a heads up too, just so you know, if you go to Google Trends, I'll actually show you guys this really quick. Let me just open Trends for you here really quick. And I'm just going to show them how to do this because they're just getting started. So I want to just kind of help out here and make sure they've got what they need. So let me share my screen here really quick. Share screen. Let me go to Window. Let me go to this tab here and share. Let me add it to the stream. Okay. So let me stretch this out a little bit. Okay. So when you're using this, what you want to do in your particular case, of course, this is going to be dependent on exactly what it is that you're reacting to. But right when I load this up, when I go to trends.google.com, right now it actually has me located into Thailand because that's where I'm streaming from. But of course, this will be located to you, but right now I can see some stuff going on in Thailand and all of that down here. But in your version, you're going to see this based on wherever it is that you live in the world. But one of the things that you can do here is you can actually look for topics. So let's say, for example, if I did, let's see here, what's a movie that came out? Okay, so I think Bullet Train. I'm not sure if that one is, if you're going to be reacting to movies, for example. So we see this, heightened, thing here on Bullet Train. We have where it's shot up, right here. We're going to isolate this down to, technically you could do worldwide, but let's say you're like me and your audience is primarily in the US. Then in that particular case, we're going to lock this into the United States. I'm going to take this down to, we'll say the past day here for this. But we can see even over the day how much, people are, looking for it and not. So this information right here, you can use, and you'll get more familiar with this over time as you are, trying to hop on trending things. But you can use this over time to also look for patterns of interest throughout the day, so you know the right time to publish the content as well. So keep that in mind. That's like a little hidden pro tip there. But in addition to this, you can look at your web search here, and you can also look at YouTube search. So here we can look at the interest on YouTube, over the course of the day. But if we take this back, like let's say over the last 7 days, which you don't want to go this far if you're trying to stay like on top of the trend. You want to go, through the day. But basically when we're looking at it here, we can say this is actually on the decline over the last 7 days. So therefore, this is something that we might not necessarily want to make a video on because it's on the way down, not on the way up, okay? But if we were to do the same thing, like let's say you're doing gaming stuff, I'll just do Call of Duty right here because I know we got a lot of gamers hanging out. So if you're going to do something similar, then we can see, the same exact thing over the last 7 days. But let's say that you're deciding like what games to play, that sort of thing. You can also do the same exact thing here if you're starting a channel to where you can start looking at it, over time to see like, hey, is this something that's on the rise? Is this something that's on the decline? And you can sort by different date ranges. So you can just kind of figure out, hey, is this something that people are interested in, more or less over time? And here we see that we're starting to get like a little bit of an uptick here. So we can start to use that as, hey, let's kind of drill in on this just a little bit here. And let's go down to like the last 30 days. we see that we also have a little bit of bump over here. So because of this, this might be, something that, if you're getting into Call of Duty content, that can be, helpful. But here's something that is even more important for this. So remember that you can look for this on YouTube and the web. So you want to make sure that you are looking at YouTube, which we also see a rise here in this particular case as well. But another place that you can use this, if we break this down to, like, let's say the last 7 days, or we'll do the past day here, because we're trying to stay current. As we scroll down here, this is the area that you want to pay really close attention to. So you can, one, see the related topics about other things that people are talking about to help you find additional things. So here it looks like there's been a little bit of a breakout, or Tom Clancy Ghost Recon seems to be on the rise a little bit. We can see that down here. So that means that might be something to consider. I'm not sure if this is a game or not, but if this is a game, this is also having, quite an increase in interest right now. So this also might be a thing to make a video on in that particular case. Of course, you can go to top as well, but rising is what you want to look for. Down here, we have more of these over here as it relates to Call of Duty specifically. So here we would look for things that you could actually, make videos about. So here, Call of Duty, Black Ops Cold War multiplayer. So one, if you're making this type of content, you would understand the context here. So for example, if they just put out a multiplayer like split screen or something like that, and if that's why everybody's excited about it, then you could be like, hey, I'm going to make a video on this multiplayer, split screen thing. And you would see that this has a 250% increase in interest right now. On the Call of Duty Infinite Warfare trailer, this is another one. In this particular case, it has a 160% increase in interest, which means that if you were going to react to something, you could react to this trailer, right? And since there's this increase in viewership, then you're increasing your chances, essentially, of getting in front of more people by reacting to this, for if you were reacting to, gaming related things. But you can just click through the pages here and you can see, and you can pick the different things, that would fit into whatever it is that you're going to be reacting to. So when it comes to, using this, that can be extremely advantageous in all different ways. Other ways that you can use this, for those of you that have never seen this before, is, let's say, for example, we were to compare this over here to Fortnite. Then what we can do here is we can also start comparing Fortnite to Call of Duty and see what it is that people are, most interested in there. So we can see here that Fortnite is getting a lot more interest right now over the past day than Call of Duty. So then when you're trying to come up with, hey, which, video should I make and all of that, then you also need to take that into consideration if you are somebody that's going to be riding trends. If you're going to be starting a channel and you're thinking to yourself, hey, what am I going to be, which thing that I love Fortnite and I love Call of Duty, but which one do I want to make a channel about? Which one has, the best potential for me? You can also use this comparison tool to look for things like that as well, in terms of like, okay, it looks like Fortnite is slowly dropping off over time, whereas Call of Duty is very rock solid consistent, but overall Fortnite's still winning. But Call of Duty seems, a lot more, consistent. So that viewership might be a little bit more dependable compared to, very fluctuating Fortnite, which is probably dependent on different updates they do and things like that, because I play Fortnite too. But with Call of Duty, we also see again that it's here on the rise a little bit. But you can see here, they even break this down like geographically and all that. But that same exact thing applies here when you're doing that comparison, to where you can come down here and you can get, just different information here, to where you can see these breakouts. Fortnite Squid Game, Fortnite Battle Pass, Song, Indiana Jones, Fortnite. So some of these you wouldn't even be able to make a video about, really. But if you keep up to date on this on a regular basis, then you will find those things that that will matter for you. But anyway, when it comes to this, the idea here is that that you can use this in a bunch of different ways. So another one of these is like, for example, one of the things that I promote from my channel is TubeBuddy. So another way that I used this personally is if I'm trying to, get it, my videos in front of people and help them respond to something based on how they are looking for it, I'll do this type of comparison too. When I have these types of things, like 2 words versus 1 word, so that I can make sure that the way that I'm putting my title together is going to resonate with a higher amount of people based on how they think of what it is that I'm making content about, right? So here, over the last 12 months, it looks like people are looking for TubeBuddy as 1 word more over the last year than they are looking for it as separate words. Not a huge difference. It used to be much bigger, but it's not a huge difference, but but it's there in that way. And I can use that to write my titles in a way that the people that I'm trying to reach are thinking about that if they're looking for it in search. So you can use trends in a lot of fun ways. But if you just go in there, start exploring, and really start putting your thinking cap on in terms of how can I really utilize this for what it is that I'm trying to do, it'll help you a ton. Driver Sensei, thanks for super chats. Come on, people, you can't tell me these aren't remarkable gems from Nick. Who else is going through all of this, helping us improve our channels? Thank you for the super chat and the kind words. I appreciate that. Massive. 6 Shots says how to handle YouTube workload before one goes full time. So when it comes to the YouTube workload, the hardest part is going to be continuing to just make videos and all that, making sure you're consistent there. So you got to make sure that you are prioritizing that over all the other things that you can kind of get lost in, because you got to keep doing the thing in order to do the thing, right? So you want to make sure that you are prioritizing just making the content in general on the workload side. So what I recommend that you do is go ahead, if you can, go ahead and get a few videos in the can. And what I mean by that, make some videos, put them on a hard drive, just kind of have them there ready so that in the event that you can't be consistent, life gets in the way, something like that, you have some extra videos on hand that you can just go ahead and drop into those spots. So a great way to do this is get ahead. So let's say you are 3 or 4 weeks ahead. And then in that case, every video that you are making now, you're having one of those drop off, right? So you're essentially making all your videos a month in advance. By doing that, you'll have much more peace of mind. That whole burnout thing and stress that you can feel by being on the hamster wheel kind of lessens a little bit. And then that also will ensure that you can consistently put out content for a long period of time. Driver Sensei says, if you all want advice outside of YouTube, I say consider being a member and joining the exclusive group. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with that. Create Imperfect says that I'm starting a channel in a niche that is dominated by women. Doing research, I found that the viewer is also women. Any tips on how to attract a viewer and grow an audience who has a different demographic? So if you are going into that space that is mostly dominated by women, then you will have, women, primarily women viewership. Just as long as you're ready for that and you embrace that, I think you'll be okay. Keep in mind that with some types of content, people do just resonate towards, one or the other. So because of that, just keep that in mind when you're starting it, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it or that you shouldn't try it. I'm just saying if it's typically, dominated by women, then there's probably a reason for that. And that reason could just be that, guys aren't as interested in making content about it. I'm not sure. But if the viewership and the creators are both women, then, you might be that fresh breath that everybody needs, that fresh breath of air, for them having an option of somebody else to watch, so to speak. But in terms of attracting a totally different demographic like that, I'm not exactly sure what that niche is. If I knew what the niche was, I'd be able to give you some more information on it. But since I don't know the actual niche, it's a little bit harder to define. Like I see here that you have Create Imperfect, but I don't think that that's the one, because I think that's where you are, doing more, creator-based stuff. And with that, it's not necessarily dominated by women in that capacity. So I wish I knew the actual demographic to give some additional information there. It's a terrace kind of thing. Thank you for the super chat as well. I super appreciate it. Says that, first off, you're absolutely amazing. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Says, my question is, why am I seeing my revenue decrease a little? I have no copywriter issues, so I'm confused. Thank you. So ad revenue on YouTube, it does fluctuate. That fluctuation is based on the demographics of the people watching your content. So for example, if you have a primarily like Western audience where they get higher ad rates, then in that particular case, your ad rates are going to be higher. But let's say you publish a piece of content and that particular piece of content or a few pieces of content for that next 30 days is getting a higher response from lower tier advertising countries, then in that case, that will cause your CPMs to drop in that case because of where they're viewing the content from. In addition to that, the topics themselves will also get different types of ad rates based on the specific topic that you're talking about also. And there's just general ad inventory. So with ad inventory, how that can make things change is like, let's say that during the holidays, historically on YouTube, during the holidays, people typically make more ad revenue because advertisers are spending more because of the holidays, right? Because people are buying gifts and things like that. Whereas, after the holidays are over, people typically see their ad rates drop because advertisers start kind of reeling in those campaigns campaigns at that moment in time, after the holidays are over. So, so because of that, that's why your ad rates are fluctuating. So on that note, I do want to let you know that my brother D and Daniel Batal right now are live over on the StreamYard channel, where they are looking at YouTube channels. They're doing reviews. They're giving you like tips, pulling channels up on screen, trying to help people out that way. So what's going to happen is I'm going to hit in broadcast here. When that happens, that's going to automatically send you right over to their stream, where you can go ahead and start participating. The way that they do it over there is really fun. So all you have to do is participate, and then your channel, can just be pulled up on screen, and they can give you a tip specific to, to whatever it is that comes up in their spinny wheel thing that they do. But it's really entertaining to hang out and to watch. So I really recommend you head over there. But before you do, one thing that I do want to mention is if you're a new content creator, I know all this information that's coming out during these streams. I know sometimes it can, sound like a lot of stuff or overwhelming. I do want to encourage you to, just work on what you can work on at this moment in time. And instead of trying to focus on doing all the things, at one time, just, work on doing something better over the course of this week, or maybe 2 things better over the course of this week. And then we'll be back here next week to do the same exact thing again, to, give you more stuff that you can go and apply to your YouTube channel to see how it works out for you. So hopefully you can be one of those channels that come in here, in the future, hopefully in the near future, that's like, hey, Nick, been hanging out in your live streams, just crossed 50,000 subscribers, awesome information. Thanks. Hopefully you'll be one of those people too. So thank you so much for hanging out. Everybody have an awesome rest of your weekend. Stay safe out there. And again, this is going to send you right over to their stream. So I will see you over there. Have a great week.